all over Vegas.
I know. Let's start this YouTube thing. Hold on, here we go. Hey everybody, we are live once again on YouTube, right here on Spaced Out Radio. How y'all doing? It is Dave Scott with my new pirate look after I screwed up on my beard the other day, but my hair looks fantastic. I had to do my hair tonight because there is only one person in the entire paranormal field who has nicer hair than me, and that is Erika Lukes. Erika Lukes, yes. She has more beautiful hair than I do, you know, and so I had to flash it. Erika, go to youtube.com/spaced out radio, and you'll be able to see my beautiful hair.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
I don't blame you. Hold on, we got to give a shout out to everybody here. Hi there, Manitoba Becky. Hi, Chris Mo. We welcome in Renee from New Zealand. BG's. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. Hi, Jules. How you doing, gorgeous? Hi, Renee. What's new? Who else do we got here? I know Waylon's in here. Where's Waylon hiding? Hey, A. Smith, thank you for coming on in. Super Nuck, good to have you here as well. Asteroid, thanks for coming on in. Slim, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. The Desert Clam, good to have you here as well. Hey, Nilbog Lort. Nilbog, no, why am I getting tongue-tied over this? Troll Goblin, there he is. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, thank you for coming on in. Nathan, checking in from Washington State. Good to have you here. All right. Brett Lewis, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Maureen. All right. Did you pull it up yet?
You know, I did.
Look at that, eh?
Hello, Dolly.
Hello.
Hello, Dolly. That's what I'm talking.
Oh, yeah. By the way, just announced for the Spaced Out Radio Party in Vegas, April 2021, Erika Lukes and I are going to have a hair off. Don't, want to make you feel bad or anything, but I mean, we could have a small hair off, but we're going to have a hair off. Still win. No, it's a hair off. You just be ready, do your stretching, lady, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's a hair off.
Okay, it's a hair
off in Vegas.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
We're doing this. Hi, Filth, you dirty animal. Hey, Lufon, how you doing, man? Tammy, good to have you back. Thank you so much for coming on in. Who else we got here that's new? Human Carl is here, everybody. Human Carl, not to be compared or, thought of as Alien Carl. No, it's Human Carl. And I know Video Game Guy is in here as well. Good to have you here. Thank you, Felipe. What's going on? Thanks for coming in. All right. Yes. My people are already saying I'm going to win. I don't know. Erika Lukes. Oh, Marty on Twitter, because we know we love Marty, our favorite veteran in Vegas.
Marty. I was just thinking about you, Marty. I can't wait to meet you. That'll be fun.
Yeah, me either. And he's already saying my friend Erika has great hair, and he posts. Oh, come on, Marty. That's not fair because she is way better looking than me. Way better looking. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, Erika Lukes is like a 9.9999999.
Wow.
Okay, and I'm like a 5. I think I moved up to about a 5.4. From 5.3. That is not fair. Okay, we're judging hair only here. Hair only. Because of its looks, she's got me smoked. People. Hi, Dolly. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight on Spaced Out Radio in our chat room. Roy Boy, how you doing? Yeah. Cable Guy Matt will be here. Don't you worry. Cable Guy Matt will be here. Okay, I'm starting the one feed. All right. Can you give me a quick countdown, please, from 5?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, perfect. Damn it, that's 2 days in a row I haven't been first in there. All right. That's okay. All right. Alan Young, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on in. Hey, Kevin. Cable Guy Matt, there he is. Cable Guy Matt. Remember, you can get your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. You cannot buy these in stores. There's only 4,000 left. Only 4,000 left, people. So get them while you can. Hey, Cable Guy Matt, stop by my office tomorrow, man. If you get an opportunity, stop by my office tomorrow. We got to get an actual piece of coaxial cable so we can show these people what they're missing out on. Hey, Millennium, good to have you here. All right. We're about 30 seconds away, my friend.
Sweet.
Yes.
Well, I look forward to it. I told you that Mama was feeling a little spicy tonight.
Oh, my goodness. I must have screwed up on my time here. Because we are actually ready to go here. Music is on. Oh, wow. I screwed up on my clock here. Oh, well. Music's on. Let's have a good show. Super Chat is open. And Erika's hair is distracting, but we're going to make it on through tonight. Here we go, everybody. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Erika Lukes is a former state director of the Utah chapter of MUFON and a MUFON field investigator. She currently is the head of Unexplained Utah, an organization which is focused upon specifically and scientifically researching unidentified aerial phenomena. As well, she's a team leader on a research program called Project Orange. Both Utah's famous Skinwalker Ranch and its surrounding areas have held a strong, lasting bond with Erika. She has collected decades worth of case reports from this area, and particularly so with regards to mass sightings of UFOs, as well as mysterious mutilations of animals and alien abductions. Oh yeah, we're getting in deep into the woo tonight. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The beautiful, lovely, and talented Erika Lukes. Always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
You know what? I am really groovy, and it's good to be back. I always love coming on your show. We have very lively discussions, and I have no doubt tonight will be one of those discussions.
Oh, I'm sure. And just so you know, we're planning this Vegas party, this get-together in Vegas for all of our Spaced Out Radio listeners in April of 2021. And as much of planning as we've done, it's only been vocally so far. So that's about as far as we've got. But nonetheless, you know, I brag about my hair. Erika has great hair too, probably better than mine. But if you're in Vegas for that Spaced Out Radio party, Erika and I are going to have a walk-off with our hair. It's a hair-off, people. It's a hair-off. There we go.
That could be one for the memory books, to say the least.
It could. It definitely could. All right. My friend, you know, for people who may not be familiar with who you are and the great work that you have done over the years, how did you get into ufology?
You know, I've always had an interest. I mean, ever since I was a little child, I found myself picking up books in the library, drawing pictures of UFOs and aliens, and it just held a fascination for me. And through my life, I found myself looking into, you know, the paranormal, all sorts of things. But you know, there's so much more to life than black and white or what meets the eyes. And so I've always been on a journey to find answers. And if some of you follow my work, if you know some of the revelations, the bombshell revelations over the past year about my work with Skinwalker Ranch and the surrounding areas, then you know that what I had, you know, once hoped were little green men, or, you know, paranormal, my grandma Moses coming back from the dead. I mean, I have a lot of a lot of questions now about things, and I now see very clearly that there unfortunately has been a decades-long effort by people here in the United States to steer the narrative, to make money off of people, and to really lead people down a very dangerous path. And I'm hoping through my work and my radio show that I can shine a light on that, and we can actually truly move in a positive direction.
Erika, when you have gone through the years and the decades of history regarding UFOs, specifically in Utah and the strangeness that happens there, have you found any patterns that have caught your eye?
Here's an interesting thing. When I was the state director for Utah MUFON, I found it very odd because we could get in and look at the CMS some of the time when they weren't hiding cases like they are notorious for doing. But it was very interesting to me to see the lack of cases and reports that were coming in about Utah. And I thought, this is, why would this be? Because we know that Elaine Douglas, who I took over for, she was a very diligent researcher. And so I started to ask questions about that. And then we have the fact that Elaine Douglas, who has since passed away, but she was back in the old days when she was with MUFON, she was very alarmed about Robert Bigelow, about the fact that Robert Bigelow he did purchase MUFON. He purchased the database and had access to people's personal information, all of these sightings reports, and she raised the alarm bells. And subsequently, she wanted to reform MUFON because she felt that it was an organization where people were paying money to join. They were paying money to do the work. A handful of people was profiting, and witnesses' testimonies were compromised. Their information was compromised, basically. And so, it was just, I started to look at it because I wasn't able to find a lot of UFO data. And I started to look at the bigger picture. And then I also made the connections that there is a lot of military stuff going on in Utah. And so could there potentially be, could I float the idea around that the military would have a vested interest in making sure that UFO reports were kind of pushed down there, or an organization like MUFON would do that as well, because there are actually lots of places here where there could be testing of experimental aircraft. So that's what I found. And it wasn't, I wish I could say that I could look at the data and see all of these incredible cases, but we just don't have a lot. You've got Delbert Newhouse. I look back at that now, I think perhaps my viewpoint has changed radically. So I don't believe that everything is ET, and I'm not quite sure if any of it is. And I think that, Utah is a very strange place, especially when you throw into the equation that you've got Skinwalker Ranch, the notorious hotspot for things where all this money from the Pentagon went into studying what some people like to say is UFOs, but really, if you look at the solicitation sheet for OSAP, it wasn't. So it's just all been fascinating. It's intriguing. And like I said, I wish I could go down the hole thinking that this was UFOs. I do think there's something unexplained. Do I think a lot of it takes place in Utah? I think a lot of it could be due to man-made things.
Well, I got to ask you in regards to the secrets of Dugway. Now, for people who do not know what Dugway is, it's a secret military base in Utah where it has been nicknamed Area 52 because a lot of people believe that a lot of the secrets and the core secrets that were once hidden at Area 51 have been moved to places like Dugway. What do we know about that?
Again, it's one of those things where I maybe a handful of years ago, I would have looked at that and said, yes, this is where they've moved alien technology. Now I think it's a place where they do top secret testing. Do I think it's a place where they've got crashed saucers? No, I don't. and I'm not really quite sure if they have that at Area 51, but these have been myths that have been promoted time and time again by a handful of people to line their pocketbooks, to steer the narrative, to land contracts for contractors. And so, yeah, do I believe Area 51 or Dugway is Area 52? I don't. There's a lot of really curious stuff going on out there, though, and it's has to do with our nation's security.
So, in your mind, then, what makes Utah such a weird state when it comes to UFOs?
You know what? And this is a great question. I'm honestly stumped. I'm not sure if it is a great state for UFOs. I know that we have had. I mean, I investigated an American Airlines case a few years ago when I was state director for MUFON, and that was, according to Bill Puckett, who helped me do radar, one of the most important radar cases with regards to quote unquote UFOs that we have ever seen. And I know that a couple people on the board of directors at MUFON agreed that this case was one of the top cases that they've had since MUFON began back in 69. And so that case was, and I'll give you the rundown on this. It is very interesting, but there was a friend of mine, Pat Daniels. He is a DJ. He had a radio show, Fringe Radio, and he used to scan radio frequencies at night, and he was a ham radio operator. And one night, right after midnight, he came across a series of transmissions between the flight crew of an airline and then air traffic control. And in these transmissions, he told me when I first talked to him, he said that they were saying, the flight crew was saying, there's a large orange object that is keeping pace with the plane. Do you have this object on radar? And knowing Pat and knowing what his integrity is like, he's a wonderful person that would have no reason to make this up. I brought in a couple other people and we did research. We went to air traffic control. You can go to a website and you can go through and you have to identify, you have to go through lots and lots of things to actually identify what aircraft it was. And so we did that. We nailed it down. We found a specific section of audio where it was curious because you could hear the people in the flight crew, saying, what is this large orange square, and so on and so on. And so when we got that validation, then I, asked Bill Puckett, who is one of the best in the world with regards to this. We submitted a FOIA. And we asked for radar data, for the flight logs, for also the audio recordings. And amazingly enough, we actually got back all of the things that we had requested, but a portion of the audio was redacted, which is curious. But when the radar returns were analyzed, there were multiple radar returns in a half an hour span. These radar returns were spanning a 6-mile area. And he did such work on this, and we went out there. We had interviewed people. We did a great deal of work on this, and it was ruled out that it was anomalous propagation. So there was something that was being picked up on radar. This was not a populated area. It was a great case, and after we had that case, my assistant state director Jeff Cox, myself, Bill Puckett. It was around that time frame when I was receiving some pretty nasty types of behavior with MUFON, and I asked the executive director for assistance with regard to this. That didn't come, but I got to the point where I had to resign because I knew they were hiding data. I knew they were messing with people, and I knew that there was something wrong, and I knew that I was also had a target on my back, so to speak. And so after I resigned, and this is the really curious thing, and we ought to think about this for a second, but after I resigned, there was another fellow who came in out of the blue, he was the assistant state director, and there was never a state director assigned. I don't think there is to this day, but he told me in a candid conversation that Jan Harzan authorized him to spend a couple $1,000s, from my recollection, to hire a private pilot to fly over the area of the sighting in an attempt to debunk my case. Mind you, one of the biggest supposed UFO sightings with radar, with audio, that we have seen, and MUFON's trying to debunk it. And so it's like when you start looking back at all of these things, you think, what really is the game here with regard to Utah UFO sightings?
Do you think it's because of the strangeness that is involved around Skinwalker Ranch that maybe Utah gets a little bit, or people get a little bit paranoid about it?
I don't. I think that there is. I think with Skinwalker Ranch, I think that a couple decades ago, a couple people wrote a book, Colin Kelleher, George Knapp. I think that book was, although there might be some factual things in there, I think there was a narrative that was very carefully crafted, and it was a narrative that could weave in some of the local lore and the legends, and it could also, tie in this, tie in that, talk about the other people, contractors coming in and deploying toys in and around the ranch, which non-lethal weapons testing, let's get that straight. And so they created this very careful smokescreen to get in there. And so when the neighbors were experiencing these large beams of light, when they were getting injured, different things, that people began to jump to the UFO narrative and say, aha, I was injured. It is that UFO. I mean, it was a brilliant PR strategy. You couldn't think of anything better. And so you could also, with that, you bring this book out there, and then you're seeding all of these ideas, and you can see where these ideas go and how, you put something over here, and then you watch human behavior, and you watch the way myths are created and all of these things. And I'm not, I want to say that I have seen things in this area and over the ranch that I can't explain. There is something going on. But do I think that the Skinwalker Ranch story, from its inception, that was put out to the public, is completely factual? I don't. I talked to Dr. Frank Salisbury before he died, and he raised the same concerns as I did. And Frank Salisbury wrote the Utah UFO Display, which is a really great book on this area if you ever want to read that. But all of this was very interesting to watch. So I think the intrigue, the drama, all of these things were intentionally seeded into the community. And I think at the end of the day, when things come out, we'll find out that perhaps there is something buried on the property. I don't think it's alien technology. Perhaps there could be things that are causing radiation, as we've seen evidenced on the TV show. People are getting injured, and there are alleged high spikes of radiation on the ranch that are dangerous for humans, yet they're traipsing around there without the radiation suits on, which I find quite interesting. I'm sure OSHA would love that one. But, you've got all of these things, these myths, this hysteria about this, and like I say, the more I've delved into this, the more alarmed I am, and the more I encourage people, I implore people to look at the way the UFO myth has been created, seeded, and it has been used as a cover for things that aren't in our best interest. And we've got to look out for this.
That's a very powerful statement to make, saying that you feel that there is some sort of agenda there to cover up and to control the entire narrative of the ufology. Why would you make such a bold, brash statement?
Because it's the truth, and I think that I have one of the biggest archives in the Western United States with regard to UFO books, periodicals from all over the world dating back to the late 40s, research that has been donated to me. And I've seen since the Kenneth Arnold days, how the military got involved, how the intelligence community got involved, how different political and religious factions got involved in the UFO subject to steer the narrative, to make money off of people. And it is going on today. And all you have to do is look at To the Stars Academy and bingo, there you've got it. We are never going to get the truth from these people because, every few years you've got the same group of people coming out and saying, oh, we've got this and we're going to do it this time. And in the meantime, the wool is being pulled over people's eyes. And I get it that people want disclosure, but this ain't the way to go about it. This is, we have to open our eyes, and we've got to do it quickly.
There's so many ways I could go off of that one statement. So many ways I can go. And, look, we know that the field of ufology is or can be very highly critical. It's not a very fun field. It is something that can be very ugly for a lot of people. It has ruined reputations. It has killed researchers, literally and figuratively. This is something that a lot of people find extremely stressful for what they are doing in trying to prove or disprove the theories of ufology. And when you take everything that's kind of gone on over the last number of years, let's say the next 10 or so years, going back in time here, how has things changed? Has it been better for the positive? Or has all the recent attention really taken away from what the real research should be about?
That's a great question. And I remember when the New York Times article came out. It was like, sweet, baby Joe, we've now the New York Times is paying attention to this. And then you look at CNN and you look at Fox News and, my thought was, and I'm sure most people who are here tonight, it was like, yes, we finally have some credibility. And that was great. That put that into the public eye. And I had a lot of friends of mine who don't care about this subject who said, hey, I saw that. That's kind of cool. And yes, they are paying attention now. But unfortunately, with that said, again, again, this is a chance for certain people to get in there to obtain funding, to steer the narrative, to never put anything out, to dangle carrots in front of our face, to play games and manipulate. And this has been going on for decades. This isn't, to have somebody from the Navy come out and say, yes, UFOs are here. Come on, look back at history. And that's what, my library, being able to go into my archive and pull out a book from the 50s or the 60s and see, gosh, the same people not the same people, but the intelligence community, people in the military are coming out saying UFOs are real. But what is the end game? Because I don't buy it. I don't buy the narrative that is being put forward. And like I said, yes, there is something genuine. I've experienced it. That's what got me into the field, and that's what keeps me going, because I think it's important. And we have places on the planet where they are doing good critical research. It is not in the U.S., and like I said, it will not. It's run far and fast from TTSA.
Well, a lot of people already have. A lot of people will disagree with that. That's a highly controversial subject that we can get into before we get into Skinwalker Ranch, which we will get into quite a bit tonight here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Erika Lukes is our guest. Yes, we're going to be talking Skinwalker Ranch. We're going to be talking UFOs. What is going on in the field? Do we like it? Do we not? If we don't like it, what are we doing to change it? Can one person just make that happen? We'll find out more with Erika Lukes on Spaced Out Radio coming up. That was a quick half hour.
I know. Time goes by when we're having fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I let Chris know in the chat room that I let Chris know in the chat room that my hair is better than yours. Oh, bullshit, Chris. Bullshit. He goes, Dave, great hair for sure, but Erika got you beat. We actually went and got beauty today. Got to beauty today in Salt Lake City and got some cool stuff. Dear. Oh, you bastards.
Uh-oh, he's divulging my...
You bastards! It came out.
Well, it's all so I can have better hair than yours. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I hate you people right now.
I'm just kidding. Actually, you do have really pretty hair.
I know.
It's beautiful. It's long, luxurious Fabio locks.
Oh yes. What do you think of the chin hair? Because I screwed up on my beard the other day, and what do you think of that? No, it's true.
Could you elaborate on that story?
I went to trim my hair, okay, or trim my beard, and I got too close with the clippers.
And why don't you have a YouTube video of this? Come on now.
No. Stop that.
Yeah, come on. Seriously. YouTube video.
No.
I've often thought that I should have a YouTube video channel dedicated to my excellent cooking skills, baking skills, and my need to backseat drive, because that could be good.
Well, I think you should. I totally think you should. Apparently, I'm being called a G-string goatee. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Oh,
well,
tough crowd tonight. Tough crowd.
It is. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think they're actually pretty fabulous, so I like it.
There's Science Bob. Science Bob is here, everyone. Guaranteed he has his cape on. He always has his cape on while he's listening to the show. You got to meet Science Bob. Science Bob's amazing.
I know. I would like to.
Yeah. Science Bob's
definitely
amazing.
Have to chat with him.
Yeah. Definitely one of the top 3 smartest people in the world that I've ever met. Ever.
Wow.
Yeah. And he has a good beard going on, too.
Does he?
Yep. So, that's just my plan on that. But at least my idea. All right. Devin says, I prefer calling it a Dave Quixote. Oh, thank you, Devin. Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
That's a good one. I like it.
Goatee, not goat tea. It's not 2 words. It's 1 word. You darn Americans. Oh, yeah. So we got about 3 minutes.
Cool. All right. I'm going to run and grab a drink of water.
You do that.
Back. In case you need to know that. This is exciting behind the scenes information.
I know. All right. Science Bob, everybody. Science Bob. Let's have a round of applause for Science Bob out there tonight. There we go. I got little Richie G's big brother to the Magic 8 Ball here. We can't use it for the show just yet. Cannot use it. This is a Buzz Lightyear Magic 8 Ball, by the way. Just picked this up. This is in tribute to little Richie G. Cannot use it yet, though. Nope. Waiting for the time it's right. When will I be able to use the Magic 8 Ball? See, it's all dark. It's all dark. It's not ready to work yet. Hey, Ward. How are you, man? Goatee. Okay,
what's that? I'm a little scared.
What, a goatee? It's a chin hair?
It's your Magic 8 Ball.
The Magic 8 Ball. Well, see, little Richie G, my buddy Rich Giordano, he's had a Magic 8 Ball for like 37 years. And I got jealous. I did. I got jealous. So the other day I was out shopping for, what was I shopping for? For outside night lights for my yard. And my son wanted to go in the toy section, so I go in the toy section, and there's a magic 8-ball, a Buzz Lightyear magic 8-ball sitting on the shelf. I said, this is coming home with me. This is tribute to little Richie G. So I brought it home. Haven't made many predictions with it yet. Because
okay, do it right now. Now's the time.
I don't know if I can. I can't even read.
Why?
Because I can't read the damn thing. It's too
okay, Grandpa Moses.
My eyes are... Wow. Holy shit. You put up with this, Marks? Hold on. All right, signs point to yes. What is your question, Erika? Hey, Dave Altman.
Nothing.
Who will Dave win the hair off with Erika? Answer? No. Not today, Sheriff. You prick. We're just going to go shove that over there. Obviously, it doesn't fucking work. Hate that thing already. All right. Hey, I want to say thank you to everybody for listening in, giving us a thumbs up if you don't mind. A great way to support this show. We have the Super Chat open. You can do a little shopping at our SOR vault. Grab yourself a t-shirt and some swag, as well as join our Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. Here goes the second half hour with Erika Lukes tonight. Here we go. Music's on, Erika. Little Davey Altman. Hi, Little Davey Altman. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and rocking out to Bumblefoot. Oh yeah, get your horns up for that one. Our Twitter handle at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Give the time to follow us both. Tonight we are talking with Erika Lukes. We're getting into UFOs. We're getting into Skinwalker Ranch. We're hitting the full gamut tonight. Why? Because we can. Erika, thank you so much for joining us.
It is always a pleasure, and I look forward to, again, very lively conversation. I'm sure this will be one that people are paying attention to.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Our fans are spinning across North America saying, well, what is Erika going to say? What is Erika going to say? Anyways, right before the break, we were talking a little bit about UFOs, and you are one of those veteran researchers these days that is having a tough time trying to figure out, like many are, where to trust, where not to trust, where the research is coming from. Are you like a lot of researchers today that you just kind of pulled back, stopped going into the whole public mainstream to see what's happening there, and just literally are deciding to do your own research?
You know what I did? I learned in MUFON was a great primer for me. I mean, because I could sit back and I could watch people, and I wanted to stress that there are so many people that I care about that are still involved in MUFON, and I really believe that there are people I know that there are people that are trying to get to the bottom of things, but to me it became very evident that there were people that were willing to take advantage of people and their hard work, and it became even more evident that these narratives have been created over and over, decade after decade, by people like Robert Bigelow. And it has been interesting to see how, as I step back and I look and I do underground research, and mind you, I have a whole network of people that I have been working with that are on the same page as I am, and so we are on this, and we can see a lot of things going on, and it's like a dog and pony show. It's like I've used this a lot with regard to this. It's like you've got the master, the Great Oz behind the curtain, and every once in a while he comes out and does a 60-minute interview and then closes the curtains. And then in the meantime, the flying monkeys are, off and out and doing everything and creating distractions over here and promoting garbage over here. And so, and I'm being harsh because I will tell you, I'm after everything I know and have learned and have seen, I am kind of to that point in my career in this where the gloves are off and I'm done. This kind of stuff needs to be exposed, and I can't stress to people enough that the UFO world has been used and abused for a long, long time, and we have to stop believing to the point of this being detrimental, because people are inserting, whether they're delusional and people want to follow them and believe in absolute garbage, or you've got people that are looking to make money, or you've got people like some private contractors who are looking to get contracts from the government to go do research, which at the end of the day has nothing to do with UFOs, and hopefully that will continue to make its way out to the public. But we're living in some pretty interesting times. One of
the things I've noticed, and I don't want this to go down as a real gripe fest here tonight, but one of the things that I've noticed about this field, especially over the last year, is that there are these cliques that are really infesting ufology, and they have no other reason to put out very little information with great flair and only really promoting their friends. They're not doing it for the research. They're not doing it for themselves, or pardon me, they're not doing it for the betterment of the public out there. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it to help their buddies out, try and get TV shows, to try and get conferences, get book deals, so on and so forth. Have you noticed this trend as well?
Yeah. And I mean, I sit back and I think, is this a social club? Is this the Mary Kay Cosmetics Club?
Oh, nice.
Are we all going to, and granted, they make good cosmetics, whatever. But I mean, it's like, who can slap each other on the backside, and who's going to be promoting what podcast, and who's going to be writing articles pretending they're journalists, even though they don't even have an idea what journalistic ethics are, or how to conduct good journalism. So yeah, I think that it is a social club, and that, that's all fine and dandy, because I've met people in the community and over my years doing this that I want to hang out with. I love and care about them very dearly. And it's fun. I like that. But would I just go out there and try to promote things and try to do things with the goal in mind that I need to be the most popular person on the planet, or get kudos from A, B, C, and D? No, I wouldn't, because there's something much more important going on here. And I understand that people maybe weren't necessarily popular in high school, and they need to get accolades now. But give me a break. Wake up. Look at people are there's more to this. This is a serious subject when you dig into it, when you look at the potentials of non-lethal weapons testing that has taken place, when you look at all of these games that have been played, and there's more to life than just getting somebody to sign your yearbook.
Wow. Throwing it right back to high school. Throwing it right back to high school. I think the disappointing thing for me in watching this is there is so much talent coming up. Look, every year we're going to have new people coming in. Every year somebody's going to be able to get that scoop that we've been working years on, and it's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be a little bit tainted, and you're going to feel a little bit jaded. I've had that happen already in this field. I know you've had it happen numerous times where you've been working hard on a project and somebody else kind of steals the sparkle inside of that. And I get that. And I can appreciate that. What I don't like about this field is these cliques. that are really, really starting to push their own agendas, to try and push their own way of thinking, and it's all about gaining their own popularity. Look, I do believe there is some very good work being done out there, even by a lot of these young guys who at first I was highly critical of, but the more I've watched them and the more that they have matured, I think it's fair to say that, you know, they're separating the wheat from the chaff, as many people say, if you're like 65 years and older. But nonetheless, I really do believe that these cliques aren't about trying to solve the mysteries at Skinwalker Ranch. They're not about trying to solve the mysteries of UFOs. They don't care about the technology. What they care about is getting their name out there, getting themselves on these television shows. I mean, that's what I find extremely frustrating right now, is where are we supposed to be going with this field? And have we taken a step back, Erika?
You know what? I think we have taken many steps back. And it's been a downhill trend since the late 60s, to be honest with you. I think back, you know, when NICAP was around, there were actually some investigators that had yes, I think it was much better back then. I think, unfortunately, though, you know, like I said, some of the same players that are involved now towards the end of their careers now, because they're older, but they've been out there manipulating this for a long, long time. And so, and people now, because we've got the internet and social media, and people are going on to social media groups that, you know, first of all, they haven't checked out. Second of all, half the people in there are fake profiles, and they're being fed information that, you know, there's getting little bits of information to steer the narrative, the direction of the conversation. It's really dangerous. And then you have the people who just want to have a little giggle fest with their friends and act like they're in high school, and they're not willing to do good work. I mean, I was amazed a few months ago. There was after I started to really uncover some of the things about Skinwalker Ranch that I did with the Bigelow days, I was amazed that there were a bunch of pictures going around with people, and they've got the Bass credentials, and the people in the field that, you know, I mean, whatever. Maybe some of you remember that, but everybody was joking, and it was like big smiles, ha ha! Look at me with my Bass credentials. And I just remember taking after a specific person that was doing this, and I said, "What are you thinking? Do you understand the allegations and the implications that have come out now? This isn't a joke." And it's like, you know, a momentary, oh, and then, you know, everybody's back to the same old thing. And it's like, I get that we all need to believe. Everybody, you know, we all have things we need to believe in. But at some point in time, we need to step back and look at things that are really important, especially when there is the potential that people are being hurt, people are being manipulated, and good critical work on the subject is not being done. And so I think, yeah, those are my feelings.
All right.
Can you tell I'm spicy tonight?
You are a little spicy, even though my hair is nicer. But nonetheless, we're moving on here.
Now.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. You went and hid.
Good points.
You went and hid beauty products for your hair today.
Well, and I might never ever tell you what they are. Well,
cheated.
Okay, maybe on the break.
You cheated, but nonetheless, it's okay. It's quite okay. Erika Lukes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking UFOs and Skinwalker Ranch. We're going to get heavy into Skinwalker Ranch coming up here at the next hour, in hour 2. I want to ask you, Erika, for the sake of our fans, we love a good story around here. Which UFO story have you covered over the years that to this day either scares you, either freaks you out, or maybe brings that emotion to you because you just couldn't figure it out, or it was just so weird that it just didn't make sense?
Oh boy. You know what? There have been several different, lots of different things that have happened. I've had personal experiences. In fact, I had one, like I was mentioning, when I went up to interview Junior Hicks, which was a very telling interview. He lives up in Roosevelt, Utah, and most people will know his name from Skinwalker Ranch over the decades. But I mean, I had a sighting outside the ranch there that was pretty interesting, and I think it concerns me now because I am now questioning whether that was actually man-made technology or if that was the phenomenon. I'm definitely leaning towards man-made technology, and I'm also thinking that is, what are the health implications? So that's my scary UFO story, which I know has nothing to do with aliens. Dang it.
Okay, so in all the stories that you covered, all right, is there a moment where you have said, this is unbelievable? Have you had that close encounter that you just couldn't figure it out?
I mean, I have, like I mentioned before in the first part, I mean, I've had experiences that I still to this day am trying to explain, and that's what brought me here. And for me, though, I have to say that when I had one experience in particular that I'm thinking of, I never felt threatened. It was a sense of awe. And when you look, and I think this is an important point to make, when you talk to people who've had experiences, most of them have really, it's a positive thing. It isn't a threat. And so I just want to, stress this point. The threat narrative has come about thanks to people like TTSA and thanks to Bigelow and the Bigelow boys and things. It's just another way to get funding. But I mean, I've had some very empowering experiences, and there is something, as evidenced by Hessdalen, Norway, where they've done wonderful work. I mean, we can talk about this a little, bit later whenever you want to. But I mean, when I was over there with Erling Strand, Assistant Professor Erling Strand from Oxford College, they have conducted the world's longest and most extensive research project with regard to the UFO or anomalous light phenomena. I know people like to say it's Skinwalker Ranch. It isn't. It's actually Norway. And they are actually looking at things scientifically, no coffee cans required. And they are doing work, and they're also empowering students at the engineering college to use their skills to utilize science to go out and collect data. And being there firsthand and having seen the equipment that they have, the ways that they are tracking this, the live cameras that don't conveniently blur in and out when an animal has been mutilated, and things like that. I mean, that is really quite impressive to see. And so those things, and listening to the students who had close encounters with something that is unknown right now, those were the profound things for me. And so it's a long answer to your question, but it didn't scare me. It was really cool.
Out of all the cases that you have uncovered, when I talk to other investigators, the one that baffles them the most, or that they either don't like dealing with, is cases that involve children, whether it's extraterrestrial contact, whether it's ghosts, or whatever it may be. How does your game, after all this time in research, how has it changed when it involves children?
I mean, honestly, I don't have a lot of cases, or my focus isn't on kids. They have, I mean, obviously everybody's been, not everybody, but children, adults, all sorts. People have been exposed to whatever this is. But I don't know. That is not my forte.
Okay, but obviously you have had cases that involve families or things along those lines. When you deal with family cases or teenagers or kids or adults, what are you looking for? Are you just looking for the story of what they experienced, or are you looking for the story that they have tried to uncover, or are you looking to see if they've been giving anything, downloads, any type of instrument or anything like that?
You know what? I mean, since the kind of the gist of my research has pulled away. I mean, I once was, and I once was on the abduction research team for MUFON. I did once. I mean, I was looking at the amber or orange spheres because I think those are important. For multiple reasons, but I mean, so I kind of pulled away from that. But what I have done over the years is taken specific families and I've looked at and documented their sightings. I have videotaped things, and what I do is I keep doing that. And so it's a continual process of gathering information from families, from witnesses over the years, making sure I'm keeping, looking at different things that are happening in the environment, looking at where they're located, looking at the people they've been in contact with, because I think that is really important, especially now given some of the Skinwalker stuff, and you see the same people that are contacting witnesses. And conducting, doing MRI studies, certain things. And so, that's the most important thing for me to do, is to document things and to do a background investigation on that, because I can't go in and say after one interview that you can't, this isn't something that I can go in and say, yes, this is aliens, they are here, and yada, yada. I mean, I can't, I could never be, as somebody who's looking into this topic, that arrogant, and I just can't, I cannot put a label on these things, but I do document this and preserve what I have learned, and the investigations that I've done, the interviews that I've done.
All right, Erika Lukes is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have about 2.5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. I got to ask you, as we start to turn towards Skinwalker Ranch, what attracted you, but outside of your husband, by the way, and we'll get into that strange story. Yes. What attracted you to Skinwalker Ranch when you first learned about it?
Of course, the Hunt for the Skinwalker. I mean, everybody's read that book. I mean, this is the stuff of legends, blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, there was that, the fact that it's 2 hours away from me, and all of these things. And so, like I said, that myth was very carefully crafted and put out there to the public. And so, as being involved in documenting and preserving history, looking into cases in Utah, I, of course, had to get involved in that. And let me tell you, I'm not quite sure if I'm glad I did, but it's certainly been a real trip from day one on.
So, do you remember the first time you heard about this strange ranch in the Utah desert?
You know what? I heard about it. Oh, my Lord. It must have been, it's been over a decade ago, at least. And I was at a meeting. We were talking about the ranch. We were talking about some strange goings-ons. It was a former MUFON director, and that was really kind of piqued my interest. And I started to look into it. And, of course, I was, for many, many years, one of those people that drank that Kool-Aid and believed everything I was given about that. And it's been a huge discovery process for me to be given information, to have conducted interviews with people that were on the inside that know a lot of things. And I've made some startling discoveries and some concerning discoveries. So that was one of those things. And it's also, I have to say, this is in my home ground, my stomping ground. And for me, when there are things, red flags that you look at, and I think this new show has highlighted that, when you've got dangerous radiation levels don't just start and stop here. There are people that live around the ranch that could be potentially affected by that, suffer health implications. And so, I have an obligation, I think, as a citizen We all should have that obligation to get to the bottom of things, especially if there are implications that people could be exposed to radiation. I mean, come on.
Well, we're going to get more into Skinwalker Ranch, the history, where it's going today, the transition from the greatest mustache in billionaire history, Robert Bigelow, to Brandon Fugel, and more Skinwalker Ranch talk coming up with Erika Lukes in Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio. It's good stuff so far, Erika Lukes. Good stuff.
Are you hanging in there? Because I know I'm it's a bumpy ride here.
All right. So everybody wants to know if you eat breakfast for dinner.
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Who doesn't? Jesus. Who doesn't eat breakfast for dinner? Seriously.
I thought you were a good one. I thought you were a good one.
What? No, I'm a little quirky. Breakfast for dinner. Yeah, it works for me.
Fuck. All right. And the second one, when it comes to Devil's Tower from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, are you Team Stump or are you Team Rock?
Oh Lord. What are you?
I'm Team Stump all the way, man. Tree of Life. Hey, I'll be right back. You chill out for a few minutes. I got to run my dogs outside, and then I'll get your answer.
Stories that will blow your mind, from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefucked?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauce has come in 3 flavors. The Burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajon.
All right, we're back, Erika. We got about 3 minutes.
Oh, some more hair talk? Are we talking beauty products? Are we talking...
Well, I don't know. I mean, you didn't tell me before the show that you cheated.
You know, it's all about maintaining the main.
I know. Hey, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, man. Says your show and your format and your audience is awesome. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Grendel, how you doing? Hey, welcome to the show, XC5647321. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to earn your listening ears. Remember, this show is sponsored by Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. I would demonstrate on my beard. Well, I'll demonstrate on my chin hair right now. So you just take this little squeeze bottle, just like that. Throw a little dab on your hand. Then you just rub that in and throw that on the old whiskers, right, like that. And oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful that is. There we go. Yeah, I now am officially nicer in the beard category than Erika Lukes, which I'm sure that...
Well, luckily I shave.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I want to see Chris grow a great big beard. That'd be great. Hey, Fapster,
I will have
you?
a beard off. I bet my beard might be bigger than yours. I'm just kidding.
Oh, my God.
I know that was a little disturbing.
Is Dave's beard nicer than Erika's, Mr. 8-Ball?
No.
Hold on. We're going to get the answer right now.
Yes, it's much better.
Oh, it doesn't want to answer. Hold on, let's shake this up. It is decidedly so. I win.
Yes, thank you. You do. I'll give you this one, hands down.
I appreciate that. Fabster, how you doing? Hello, Corinth. Doing a great job on the booking. I got to tell you, everyone, and I said this to Corey the other day, the month we have in June for guests is one of the best lineups I have ever seen on this show. We're going everywhere from cryptids to moon landings to Ouija boards to UFO history to ET contact. Oh, it's going to be absolutely nuts coming up here. Thank you, Julie, for the super chat. Julie and Science Bob kicking in for the super chat there. I appreciate that, Jules. You beautiful lady, you. Thank you so much for helping on out. Remember, you can also join our Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Get yourself some Spaced Out Radio swag on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Here comes our number 2. Music's on right now, Erika.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio.
And here we go, my friend.
And on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. How y'all doing tonight? We're having a great time at SOR headquarters. My name is Dave Scott, your host, sitting in the captain's chair. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The only thing I ask for in return is hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Narcomania. Narcomania is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Tonight we are getting into Skinwalker Ranch. One of the best researchers in North America when it comes to researching this high strangeness of a ranch in Utah is Erika Lukes. Erika, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I always love doing your show. We have so much fun, and it was great to have you on my show too. So thanks for coming on, and I need to get you back on there soon.
Because we've had you on here like 10 times, and I've been on yours like once.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, right.
I know.
You bring out the hair shame, and because my locks aren't as lovely as yours.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I have to put on a show. I have to put on a show because your hair is immaculate. It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
You're just trying to butter me up now.
No,
it's okay. I like it. It's good.
No.
Good.
I'm telling the truth. I cannot compete. You heard it here. This is on the record. I cannot compete. As nice as my hair is, I cannot compete with yours.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I will try, though. I will try. Erika, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
One of the things that we need to disclose right off the bat is your husband, Chris Marks, is a former guard at Skinwalker Ranch. He has helped you learn a lot of information over the last year and a bit here that you guys have been together and everything like that. What did you know? I'm just curious. What did you know about Skinwalker Ranch comparatively before you met and changed for you?
And that's a great question. And I just want to clarify that Chris was, obviously he was doing security, was the only person out there sometimes, or maybe another colleague would be out there with him, but he was also doing investigations on there. He's military police and has investigated a lot of things over the years. So he's incredible. So he's not just a person. Well, he doesn't run around with a machine gun or semi-automatic weapon in his hand trying to look cool. But so he did some great cases, investigated great cases at Skinwalker Ranch. And so when I first met Chris or came into contact with him, I was informed by someone that there was somebody that wanted to talk about his experiences. And so I called up Chris and had a conversation, and he agreed to come on my show. And he had mentioned, and he has mentioned this on my shows, if you listen to UFO Classified, you can hear this because it's an amazing process that both of us have been on. But, he was talking about watching a documentary that was made. And when he was watching this documentary about a ranch that he spent more time on than most people living there, going out to the middle of these locations that not only you have the threat of predators in the area, those wild dogs, we've seen what they can do. And then you've also got some of the bizarre things that were happening there, different things. But he would go out there and sleep in places without a tent by himself. He knew every inch of that ranch. And he also worked for Robert Bigelow and interacted with him frequently, interacted with Colm Kelleher. He was, if you want to talk about somebody that was behind the scenes, that had a look at all of this was him. But he was very disgruntled at the way the ranch was being portrayed, because it was all about the threat and the UFOs that were coming down, and they were exposing people to harm and causing these injuries, MS, blah 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 blah, and it made him angry enough to want to come forward. And so we talked about that, and we spent a lot of time talking, and I eventually fell in love and got married. But it was an interesting process, because I have interviews, and they're all available on UFO Classified from day one, where he believed in Bigelow. He thought Kelleher, he thought they were all great because he didn't have all of the information. And then slowly we began this discovery process where we were putting things together, where we were getting documents from different people. And then also the solicitation sheet for the OSAP contract came out. And like I said, lo and behold, there are all these things on there that these people who were involved in the Pentagon $22 million study were looking into. And they really didn't have anything to do with UFOs, but they had to do with directed energy weapons and different sorts of things. And so it was very curious. And then he began to, talk about the MRI that he had along with Chris Bartell, where on a late Sunday night, they were flown to this very interesting clinic to do an MRI. And then also other people that were on the ground at Skinwalker Ranch were asked to do urine tests. They were asked to, a lot of people, the people that I've interviewed were asked to do MRIs. There's more than Bartell and Marks. And then there were statements from people that I began collecting that were specifically saying that Bigelow forbade the NID scientists to go on the property. And also the higher ups at Bigelow Aerospace were not allowed to go on the property. And this was, according to the statements that I've heard, because of the health effects that were taking place. And he did not want any of the upper echelon to become involved or to have to experience these health effects. And it is interesting to note that, some of these people include Dr. Eric Davis, who specifically gave this to me in writing. And he mentions that Bigelow did not want them to go there. And it's interesting, you're conducting this research project and you're supposed to be boots on the ground, but how many times do these people actually step foot on the ranch? That would be a good question for them. I wonder if they'd answer. And so here you've got people like Chris Marks, Chris Bartell, who are going out there. They were never informed of any potential exposure to radiation. They were never, or UAP, whatever you want to call it. And in the words of all of these people, there is a threat. People are being injured. They suffer long-term health effects, and they can blame it on UAP. It might be something different, but in their own words, it is causing serious health implications. And so, Bartell and Marks have just been, obviously, when they start learning this news, it's been a very hard process to watch them go through, to know that they do not know what their health will be like. And I think that's wrong. And the more I look into this and the more I see the fact that this myth is being continued and other people are getting hurt and things, it makes me angry. And we deserve better than this. And so like I said, the whole process, and also, I've spent countless hours, because I've got a bigger collection, I think, than anybody in the world right now of case reports from Bass, and then also the other research I've done with neighbors and yada, yada, yada. And it's very telling that there are specific things that happen on specific parts of the property. And when you look at the weapons technologies that are available now, it really doesn't take a rocket scientist to question this and to question whether the UFO paranormal narrative is actually truly what's going on.
Are there monsters and aliens at Skinwalker Ranch?
No. No.
So why the ploy?
Why the ploy? Because it's a perfect opportunity to, you've got this place that abuts a Native American reservation. You've got, Utah, we love our military here. We love private industry. So, people can do things and other people will turn away. And people suffer health effects. This is the case in different parts of Utah, especially people that live on the border of Dugway Proving Ground, yada, yada. But here you've got this place where people did take a scenario that, you can put in place people that have clearances, security clearances, people that are in the military, people that have been exposed to certain conditions. You can take them into the Bigelow Library. You can hand them Hunt for the Skinwalker. You can prime them with information. And then you can push them out into Skinwalker Ranch, and you can see how they behave. And you can see how they react when the orbs come down, when the beams of light come down. Like, and I wanted to say this because I think this is really interesting. There was one specific encounter that Chris Marks had. He was out there by himself, and he was out patrolling and looked up and saw this bright beam of light. The beam of light was so bright that he had to, and he thought he was going to be blinded, he had to put his forearm over his eyes, and he could see the bones through his eyes, his closed eyes. So what was this radiation that he was exposed to? There's another report of Charles Wynn, who lived on the property right next to Skinwalker Ranch. And interestingly enough, and I've had Charles Wynn's granddaughter on the show, and Charles Wynn has since passed away of cancer. But his granddaughter told a story that, back in 1997, again, he was working late one night, and he was out on the irrigation canal and saw this bright beam of light that came over him. And again, this beam of light was so intense that he was afraid that he was going to be burned or killed. And so he dove into the ditch. It was a very frightening experience for him. And so there's a great interview Dr. Frank Salisbury did, and James Carrion, who was on my show just recently, definitely worth a listen, they did with regard to that. But Charles Wynn's granddaughter stated that none of this activity occurred until Bigelow came into the scene. And so Charles Wynn lived there for decades. And so what does that tell you? This tells me, when I look at it, that this is a place where things can happen. People can be guinea pigs in experiments, and that's just fine, because the people around the ranch, unfortunately, have been conditioned to jump to the UFO narrative as an excuse, and so they won't ask questions. I mean, I think some of them are. But, maybe somebody's on the payroll here. Maybe somebody who owns a property over here worked for Bigelow. There are all sorts of things at play. And these are the things that I've been really delving into and looking at. And it's just, when I sit back and look at the way things have unfolded, I mean, my life would have been so much easier had I just, if I could just believe the narrative that has been pushed forward. Okay. But it's not, and it's been hard. But this is serious.
Well, I have to ask you this then, because, what you're saying is so contrary to what we have heard over the years in regards to what is actually happening at Skinwalker Ranch. Why do they continue to, in your opinion, push the UFO narrative, push the monster narrative, push the poltergeist / paranormal narrative, the effects of mutilations of animals, if none of this is actually happening? I mean, this seems like a great waste of time, putting a television show together, the books together, other people who have made fancy claims that there is some weird things going on in the Uinta Basin, for you to come out and say, yeah, there's nothing going on there.
You know what I would say, and I'm not going to discount that there isn't something paranormal going on. Like I said, I have seen things, but my views on what I've seen have changed drastically. I believe that I know that people have paranormal encounters all over the world. And it was really interesting back in the day when I was talking to Eric Davis, Dr. Eric Davis, who was part of NIDS, and I'm sure is still lurking on the periphery somewhere and is probably still involved. But he said that, that UFOs are all over all the time. And so, okay, if they are, then let me ask you, why aren't people all over all the time getting injured? Why are people only getting injured at Skinwalker Ranch and around this area? I want to go back to Norway again, because I've done interviews there where this is the most important scientific study of UAP and anomalous light phenomena. And they specifically, I asked them, has anybody ever been hurt? No. So at what point in time are people going to stop believing that this is the boogeyman or a devil or a portal to hell or whatever kind of garbage is being put out there? And when are they going to start asking the serious questions? I mean, like I say, if people are getting exposed to radiation, bring in OSHA. Make sure the community is safe. Do the things that you need to do. Give the people that were on the ranch for 6 years and potentially exposed to things, UAP, non-lethal weapons testing, you name it, give them the answers. I mean, it comes to the point where, and I think I'm just to the point where I'm done with this, but people are being hurt mentally, physically, and enough is enough. So, like I said, I think, now and we've got the new TV show, and Brandon Fugel is the new steward of the ranch and is also good friends with Bigelow. And so, my question to him on social media the other night was, it was Chris Bartell had asked some questions about the radiation and things. And I said, maybe you could help us get the information on the radiation and what Bigelow found out about that. That's what, Chris Bartell and Chris Marks deserve. But, we'll see where that goes. Is the new steward of the ranch willing to be forthright and willing to help these people? Or are we going to continue to see the same old story being pushed out and given, especially tonight's episode? I mean, I think this for me is where I just said enough is enough. I mean, come on, how many mutilated animals can you have? And I wanted to, if people have seen the show, I mean, last week we had a baby llama who was, conveniently, there was footage of something attacking the baby llama. And there are reservation dogs. There are dogs that are around there. Multiple people have seen them multiple times. They take after livestock. But of course, I mean, maybe we'll see the resolution of that in some of the further episodes. The bones that were discovered in the cellar, what were those? I've done lots of investigating, and people that I've talked to that have lived in the area have given me some pretty interesting ideas on what they might be. And the radiation. I mean, come on now. I just said, I'm done, and give me some answers. If you care about the community, if you're not going to take money from the government, if this is private research, which Bigelow claimed for a long time, mind you, this was all private research. And then the first 5 seconds of the show, they're talking about a 20-year government-funded study. Well, things aren't adding up. I don't know.
Okay, so what's not adding up to you? What questions are we not asking as we got about 2 minutes to go before we got to go to break?
Well, I would say, what questions aren't we asking? What is the motivation? Who has made money off of this over the years? What hasn't the public been told? We look at the cattle mutilation pictures that are that have been put out there to the public time and time again. Did those pictures of those cattle mutilations take place on Skinwalker Ranch? If they did, show me the evidence. There are lots of questions we need to be asking. When Chris Marks was there and Chris Bartell, there were no mutilations on the property. So according to Linda Moulton Howe, there's an uptick. So we'll see where that one goes.
Okay, so with the fact that you think there is some strange happenings on there, but there are no monsters there, there are no strange things outside of wild dog packs that may be attacking the farm animals there. That is a statement that I think is easy for many of us to believe, but we all want the woo. As we got about a minute to go here, we all want that woo. We all want to know, why do you not think that there is, some sort of alien portals where these ships are coming in and out?
You know what? I mean, the more I hear the alien portal thing, the more I kind of just want to kind of throw open my mouth. That is such utter BS. It makes me angry. So yeah, there are no portals that are opening up. There's probably technology that is being tested, but show me if somebody thinks, this great scientific team thinks there's a portal opening up, then I would definitely hope there would be, using more than tin cans and string to prove it to me, to prove it to us. We deserve that. And so, and like I said, there are, we'll talk about this when we get back, but I mean, Chris Marks had some very intriguing experiences there, and looking back on his experiences, now he doesn't know what he was dealing with.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out about those experiences when we come back. Erika Lukes continues her chat on Skinwalker Ranch here on Spaced Out Radio, coming up after the break. Listen to you getting all fired up. You got your boxing gloves on.
You know what? I think I've just hit that point in everything where you just know that people that should care genuinely don't. And I really feel that we deserve a lot better than this. And I hate to see so many good people that care about this, that understand there's something that is important going on, that they are being manipulated by the same group of people over and over again. And it's just, my boxing gloves are off. So good luck.
All right. We're going to dance. When we come back, we're going to dance. Let's do this. Can't believe you've gone anti-woo on us.
You know what? Trust me, I never would have thought I would have either. And some days the things that I learn become so disheartening. It's just like, really? Okay, I held this person on a pedestal for how long, and then what? I'm finding out they're involved in this and that. And, and that's why it's so important for people to go outside of ufology and to look into these people's backgrounds and look at where they were, where their focus was. Lasers, people involved in this back in the early 70s got funding thanks to Sidney Gottlieb, Mr. NK Ultra. I mean, it's just, whoa. And I mean, some days I really wish I wouldn't have learned all of this, because it's heavy, and it's not me just sitting in a field and calling in the mothership, which some days I wish I could do, because that would be a lot more fun than what I have done.
I hear you.
I also feel this is important,
All right. I'm going to ask some audience questions we come back to, if that's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw the question from Renee.
Are you cool with that? Huh?
Oh, I'm cool with it. Bring it on.
I know. It's all good. I just like bugging you.
I know you do.
It's because you're my buddy.
I know, and I love that. I've always had, such great conversations with you on and off the air, and I appreciate your support and you being, this is a heavy, this is a heavy thing, and
it is.
It's unfortunate that a lot of the good boy, let's slap each other on the back kind of thing. It's unfortunate that some of these people who claim to be researchers or journalists actually don't have the fortitude to do their due diligence.
Oh, come on. You're friends with a few of those. Boom, boom, boom. What about your boy Rai Rai? Your boy Rai Rai and your boy Jace.
Oh, you know what? I mean, I think they're not. I don't know. I don't even know where to go.
Well,
like I said, I think I said it all with the, let's all wear the bass little passes, pretending like we're working for Bass, and when there's an explosive story taking place and nobody has the wherewithal to dig into it and see what's going on. But it's much more convenient to do nothing. We see this in society. It's like, hey, there's an issue, and might take a lot of work. It might take a lot of digging, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Well, most people don't want to do that.
I hear you.
But yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. Let's see here. What do we got here? What do we got? We got about 2.5 minutes here. Let's see here. What do we got here? All right, we've got 90 seconds just over. Just doing a little research here. All right, 90 seconds. I know I just said that, but that's okay.
But that was good, though. You're practicing.
I'm practicing. I wanted to make sure it sounded better the second time around.
You know what? I first, second, I think they're both. You were just a professional.
I know. I feel like I have a clogged... my sinuses feel heavy tonight. Don't know why.
Oh, that's not good.
Don't know why. Probably because I was cruising in a convertible with my boss all afternoon. Just for the,
oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, just for the hell of it. Then it got cold. Didn't have a jacket on.
That sounds fun, though.
Oh, it was very fun. It was very fun. All right, final commercial coming up. Hey, Brutus, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming on in and listening tonight. Really appreciate that. And I want to give a shout out to Grendel, Manitoba Becky, Jules, and Science Bob for hitting us up in the super chat. Hey, we got 107 people watching right now and only 45 likes. If you're enjoying tonight's show, do me a favor, give us a thumbs up. Apparently it's important with YouTubing, and I don't really get that, but apparently it is. So we'd appreciate you taking the time to give us a thumbs up. And if you're new to the show and you're just never coming in the chat room, come hang out with us. Say hello. I always love seeing new people in there, so come on in. The water's great. Here we go. Second half of the show starting now. Music's on. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you all taking the time to tune us in. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. And follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Tonight we are talking Skinwalker Ranch. Are there really aliens, paranormal, and monsters running around? According to Erika Luke, she's breaking our hearts when it comes to the woo, but that's okay. She says something's going on, just maybe not everything. Erika, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry to break people's hearts, and I will just say that it is broken mine, because when I got into this, I thought we were all in this to do the right thing, to have a process of exploring things, to look into experiences people were having that were life-changing and profound. But unfortunately, what I found was something much more sinister, and that has been a hard thing for me to deal with personally, and to watch Chris, to watch his colleagues. It's not easy, but it is critically important that people understand what's going on, because we will never get to look at the phenomenon, researching that, unless we peel away the garbage that we have been that has been put in front of us, in the United States for decades. So just think of it as empowering. It's disappointing, but it's empowering.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. Cable guy Matt, he is asking, Erika, do you even still believe in aliens?
Oh, you know what? I think my thought on that is, again, has completely changed, because now I go back and I look at when the extraterrestrial hypothesis was inserted into the narrative. All of these things. Was there a political motivation? Was there a religious motivation? Was there, all of these things. Do I believe that there is life out there on other planets? I do. I mean, this is everything is so vast. Do I believe that there are things that are interacting with us, around us all the time? I do, because we just, we as human beings, we tend to look at things in a box, and we're very arrogant, and what we know now, it means that we are superior, but there's so many things we don't have answers for. And so it's critical to keep on learning and pushing those boundaries, and I think we have to, but we also have to realize that there's a little bit more going on in this game than is being presented.
Okay. So let's get to Renee's question. She goes, explain then why the Sherman family was having so many frightening experiences if nothing is happening on Skinwalker Ranch.
Well, Renee, first of all, I would say it is empowering. A discovery process where you're learning the truth should always be empowering. And I have never once said that anybody are fools and making stuff up. So I'm not quite sure where you're coming from with that comment, but that is not the truth at all. And so listen to my radio shows. But I also want to say that with regard to the Shermans, of course, they've signed an NDA, and you notice after the first little bit, they disappeared off the face of the planet. In fact, they really don't want to be contacted. When I have interviewed people or spoken with people that knew the Shermans, I mean, there was a specific time, according to one person I spoke with, where they saw Mrs. Sherman in the grocery store, and she was an absolute wreck. She was, by this person's accord, covered with little burns on her body, and they were scared out of their minds. So could there have been something that was interacting with them in attempts to try to push them off the property? Could there have been some sort of technology deployed? I really think that would be the case. I've interviewed Junior Hicks, who has lived in Roosevelt, Utah. He's a legend. He's in his 90s now and knows all of these people. And, it was definitely interesting. In one of the interviews, he said that Robert Bigelow, and this is by, this is somebody saying this, so just to put that out there, but that Bigelow was maybe responsible for having Mrs. Sherman removed from her office, from her position at her job, and was trying to keep Terry Sherman on the ranch to present a certain narrative. So I believe there's a little bit more to the story than is being presented. And, again, I will say, Renee, I wish this wasn't happening, but we need to look at all of this, and there is more to this story than meets the eye. So, I think there's much more to the Shermans than we know. I'm getting little bits and pieces of information. Chris Marks just said that the Shermans were the first victims of the OSAP contract. I think that is it. That is in all likelihood the case. So. All right. Sorry if that news is rough for some people.
All right, let's move on here. And Greco has a question. What was your first clue that the Skinwalker Ranch stories were over the top?
Oh, it was a series of things. And I think the most memorable thing, and I'll never forget, sitting at my computer And in talking to Dr. Frank Salisbury, who did extensive research on the Utah UFOs. He wrote a book called The Utah UFO Displays, where he used some of the cases of Junior Hicks in the book. And I actually had the privilege, and hopefully when the quarantine, when the world gets back to normal, I'll be able to go up there and spend more time. But I spent days up at the University of Utah Special Archives, and I went through, he has 70 boxes of correspondence of his research over the years and his research into the Uinta Basin and Skinwalker Ranch. So I really, it was a fascinating thing for me, especially to see some of the correspondence between him and Dr. Jacques Vallée and other people in the field. But I remember talking to him. I was sitting at my computer desk, and, I asked him about, the book that put everything on the map. And he said that he felt very strongly that a lot of that was fictionalized for a specific effect. And I just remember sitting there and hearing that and thinking, no, this guy is crazy. Seriously. I kind of took a step back and I did not want to believe that. I didn't. Because we're told things, and then we think that we're part of this community that's bringing a story forward, and we're all part of this exploratory process. And when you get hit in the gut with something, it's not pleasant. When your belief systems at the times are challenged, it takes you back a bit. But as I began to put pieces together, do research, to look into the backgrounds of the people that were promoting stories, look at the way the events unfolded, look at the narrative. There were so many questions that it really it dumbfounded me. And then by the stroke of luck, Chris Marks and I began talking and eventually got married. And it's been so interesting because we went through this discovery process, and this was something that has been broadcast on all of our radio shows, and you can go back and listen to that. And it's like all of you who want to believe, who want to think this narrative that you've been presented is true. You go back and you listen to the first show I did with him, and you see how he went from here to here, just like I did. And it has not been easy. But, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Dave. The whole thing has been, it's been hard, to say the least.
I can hear that. I can hear the emotion in your voice with that. And, just to add to that, previous to Chris, you had one thought of Skinwalker, and that was figuring out what the hell is going on. And then after you get together with Chris and you learn all of the inside information that he had regarding working at the farm or the ranch, whatever you want to call it, that just had to blow your eyes wide open to the point where you were just mesmerized by learning, okay, what the hell is the truth? What is really going on?
Exactly. And it was, and then, I've spent, I can't even tell you how much time I have spent talking to people, other people that worked there, all the people in the community, putting together, information on the people who own the surrounding properties, putting together what could potentially be buried there, putting together all of the things with regard to the Myers who lived there before the Shermans and some of these things. It's just been stupefying and enlightening, and it enrages me. And I hope that people start asking critical questions. Is your need so great to believe in the narrative that you don't understand when you're being presented information where people are potentially being hurt and manipulate it is, so it's great. We can look at UFO research and we can understand that there's something there. But when you've got something like this, we ought to kind of realign our thought process and maybe think about the greater good of humanity.
All right. Human Carl is asking, do you believe then that there are entities that are skinwalkers as described in Navajo lore?
That again, that's a great question. I have a friend of mine who is Navajo, and I have spent many a night with him talking about this and talking about his personal experiences, and he absolutely feels that he has had encounters with that. I've talked to multiple people over the decades that do. I think that there are things that are taking place around us all the time that are incredible. But, the gray area comes when you've got people, and there are documents to back this up. People, do your research with it, where they can mimic paranormal events. And so people are thinking that they're having an experience with a shapeshifter, or they can think they're having an experience with God or a skinwalker. And unfortunately, there is technology out there that can mimic these things. And the people that are, coming up with this and testing them, they know that. And that is why it's so difficult to weave through this. But yes, I do believe that there are things like that, like skinwalkers, that we can't explain. But I think that was incorporated into a myth to support, to control a narrative.
All right, continuing on with our audience questions for Erika Lukes tonight. Bama is asking, do you think the radioactive material was buried there and they're killing the animals to test them for contamination? That has been the great mystery of cattle mutilations, and that has definitely been something that has been thrown out there, I think, by a lot of different people. In fact, Dr. Eric Davis, again, I have his statement, and he's been, it's public, that they felt, the NIDS team felt that the cattle mutilations were part of a secret operations, covert operations to test animals for different things. It is interesting to note that Dr. Colm Kelleher wrote a book called Brain Trust, and he was looking into prion disease and things. And when you look at, if you go to skinwalkerranch.org, there are a handful of research papers from NIDS, which back in the NIDS days before BASS, they were allegedly going to be giving information out to the public with all of their research. But of course, that didn't happen. But one of the things that did come out was a study of specific cattle mutilations with regard to radiation. Curious. But again, I wanted to throw this question out there. Can anybody tell me specifically, with all the photos that have been put forward over the decades, which one of those photos was a cattle mutilation at the ranch? I would love to know that question. Maybe somebody can answer. Well, that's what we have you here for, is trying to figure out what that answer is. Oh,
we'll figure it out together.
Is it possible? Why hold the secrets? Okay, why hold the secrets so tight? So many people have come out saying there's strange happenings there. You agree that there's strange happenings there. You just don't believe they're happening all the time. Example, UFO portals or things like that. So if there is strange happenings going on there, and has been for a number of decades, what is your opinion from what you had before continually through now on what is actually happening there, paranormally speaking?
You know what? I wish I could tell you. I wish I could say that there are paranormal things. I mean, it was interesting because in some of the early interviews I did with Chris, I mean, he was a part of Ouija board experiments. They were specifically, his colleagues were specifically given instructions and kind of half-wit instructions, if I might add. I've got them in my library of how to conduct EVPs and sessions. And so they were sent to the old homestead, which of course looks like a movie set out of the 1940s. So it already, if you look at it, creates that creepy vibe. So you're already primed, good to go. But they went out there and they conducted these EVP experiments and asked specific questions, and they were told to record, but they were also told never to play the recordings back, and those recordings were sent straight to Bigelow. And so, you've got, at the time, I think the people that were involved in this, because they'd read the book, because they were primed with information, they were thinking that even though they were actually good investigators, and when you look at their reports, they weren't putting anything in other than the facts, but, there was a little bit of this, okay, this could be paranormal. But, like I say, there are specific places on the ranch where specific things happen time and time again. And people say it's not repeatable. That's a load of nonsense. It is repeatable, and they know it. And that's why they sent Jason Vigato out there during the Bass days to hook up a daisy chain of computers to test EM pulses, and that repeated time and time again. So it is repeatable. But anyway, I mean, it's just the whole thing is I don't know. It makes my head hurt some days.
Leah is asking, what do you think, Erika, of all the light anomalies coming from the ridge going up to the sky?
I think there's several things that could be at play. I know that there were times when the people that were working for Bass that were out there day and night, when they would shine specific lights up into the atmosphere, and people were taking videos and photos of this, and that was actually, they were saying that this was some sort of portal. But it was actually a high-powered flashlight. So you've got that. You've got the fact that maybe there could be some sort of testing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I mean, there are people who are research experts in the field, and they should be pretty darn good at identifying what these things are, or maybe give us a little more insight than we've been getting, clearly.
Erika Lukes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Joey in our Space Travelers Club has a question for you. He is asking, Erika, has your research led you to look into nearby Bottle Hollow?
It has, not with great depth, because I've been so focused on specific things, but I do hear Bottle Hollow is an interesting place, and so I will, that will be next on my list. And if anybody has any information with regard to that, or anybody lives in the area and wants to contact me, you can find me on Facebook. That's important. I've reached out over the years to many people in the community and continue to find more people as time goes on, so I can document what's going on, and we can all try to figure this out together. But yeah, Bottle Hollow's close to the ranch, so
what other wild
we've
got about a minute here. What other wild animals outside of a wild dog pack are there in that particular area of Utah that would harm farm animals?
Mountain lions. Chris would, when he was on patrol at night, he would have to, coyotes, they would have to take, if he, was the biggest thing for him, and why he would be armed when he was going out there, because of the animals, the wild animals. And so, and to put things all on the table, Chris is on record talking about an encounter he had with a pack of wolves out there, and that's interesting. Again, listen to my show. What that was is beyond all of us at this point. We're kind of scratching our heads on that, but there's a lot of wildlife out there, and I think anybody that lives in that area knows that. And so for anybody to jump to make this some sort of mysterious thing, where these animals are being found dead, and which I have to say, I really don't need to watch a TV show and see animals that are baby llamas that have been mutilated. I mean, seriously, come on now. And then next week you've got a dead cow, and we're gonna show the vet with a piece of dead tissue in its hand. I mean, I'm not quite sure who thought that was good TV, but it's not me. But I want to get to the mysteries of things. And like I said, show me if there are bones in the basement. What are the bones? Where are they from? I think I have an idea because I've been doing research on that. What is taking place with the radiation? Give us some answers. Don't give us more of the same Bigelow narrative, because quite frankly, I think there are a lot of us who are done with that and asking serious questions of everything that we've been told.
Erika, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. More Skinwalker Ranch talk with Erika Lukes coming up to kick off hour 3. Then we're going to get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. There we go. 2 hours down. Just like that. Poof.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Poof. It is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I know.
I'm just going to run.
That's why I love doing this.
I know.
Yeah, Brennan, do your.
I'm going to do the doggy thing. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right.
What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajans.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams,
all right,
exclusive content.
I am back.
I think you were just brushing your hair, is what you were doing.
No, I wasn't. I did get attacked by a giant moth, though.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like 2 inches long.
Was that paranormal?
No, not really. It was probably a skinwalker or something like that. That was, bugging me, but that's okay. Excuse me for my yawn. Oh, look, they're clapping for you.
I have to say, I love your people in chat, and that's been like the coolest thing. It's like with UFO Classified, like every Friday night, it's like I have the best people in chat, and we have a great conversation, and it's lively and respectful, and it's just really, really cool, and it gives you, I think, hope that there are people out there that want the truth, like Renee was saying, and they want, no matter what that is.
Absolutely. And that's all they want is straight answers. And, the problem is people don't know what the straight answers are anymore.
Right. And it's not easy in this field because, you're not getting that for lots of different reasons. And this is the Wild West. People don't have ethical standards. They don't have, it's too bad, but I feel that it will change. And there's a good kind of an underground swell of people from all over the world that are asking questions, and they're seeing that there's something really, really wrong, and that will continue to grow, and we'll continue to try to figure this out together.
All right. We've got about 1 minute here. Un minute. All right. Well, this has been a good night. Good night. Let's get some of those thumbs up things. Apparently, they help in promotion of the show. I read up on that, actually, after I mentioned that last half hour. So apparently the thumbs up or thumbs down are kind of important. Still haven't figured out why. Don't understand it, but hey, if you're tuning on in tonight, this is your first time listening in, say hello in our chat room. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'd love to be able to say hello to you. So thank you there. And we're going to continue the show here momentarily. How about Joe Rogan? Did you hear that? He just signed a $100 million contract to bring his podcast exclusively to Spotify.
Oh, mother.
I know.
I need to have a moment. It might involve the pens. I don't know. Really?
I know.
Golly. Oh. Okay, well, clearly I'm doing something wrong. Because I'm still...
One sec. We got music. Chris Marks, bumblefoot.com.
Now, back to
bumblefoot.com.
SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time to share with us. I am Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters here in the mountains of British Columbia. We welcome everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on Revolution Radio and TalkStream Live. Remember, all of our archives are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, let's go to the website here. It's spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. There's much more there as well. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Narcomania. Narcomania is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, once again, spacedoutradio.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, we bring in one of the most talented researchers when it comes to UFOs, strange happenings in the state of Utah. Erika Lukes is with us, and we've been talking Skinwalker Ranch all night long. Erika, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I love it. The time has just gone by very quickly.
It has. It really has. I want to ask you about a lot of the players, because your husband, Chris, once again, was a security guard at Skinwalker Ranch. We're still trying
an investigator, yeah.
And an investigator, yes. The Ouija board. You brought up the fact that they were doing scientific testing with a Ouija board there. You got to explain that to me.
Yeah, so there was there were a series of experiments, tests with the Ouija board. There were several people in the trailer, and they had the Ouija board and had something, and I believe there was a little bit, it was one of the earlier, and I'll clarify this, boards that was used, but they were around. They were, even before they'd started asking questions, the planchette lifted up off of the Ouija board and slammed into Chris's chest. And this happened, Chris moved chairs, and this happened on more than one occasion. And so that was very interesting to listen to, his stories about that. And I'll have to go back through some of the interviews, because I've got so much information out there, and I'll have to go back and find specific video interviews that I did with him where he really goes into depth. I know there's a little bit of it on the radio show, but it is fascinating. And again, there is technology that we know about. Imagine what we don't know about that can do these sorts of things. So was that just something that was that technology? Was it paranormal? I don't know, but it was interesting. They did incorporate that into the ranch. So
you got to know a lot of the people and the players through your research of Skinwalker Ranch, from Eric Davis to numerous others who allegedly have worked there and conducted scientific experiments. At one time, you had really good relationships with them, but you seem to have pulled back from a lot of those. Why is that?
You know what? Because I've learned things, because I have too many questions, because these questions aren't being answered. And it was interesting, and with Eric Davis, I mean, there was a couple year period there where we were corresponding, and it was only when I started to ask questions about this that Eric Davis went out on social media and tried to discredit Chris Bartell, saying that Chris Bartell was a sandwich short of a picnic, different types of things, and then trying to play games with the MRIs that were taking place, telling people on my social media that the MRIs that were taken, that Chris Bartell and Chris Marks, the investigators at the ranch, were taken at the request of Bigelow and Co., that was part of a pre-employment screening process. And I mean, it was like, okay, first of all, wait a minute. Who takes an MRI? Have you ever done a pre-employment screening process where you're getting an MRI? I don't think so. And second of all, they had worked there for a year. So that was absolute crap. And so there were all these things that started to take place, and then I started to step back and look at things and look at people that were saying that, oh no, there were no government ties, but yep, there clearly might be. Yet, and then we've got people that are saying, that people were and have been telling a story, and then in the next breath they're telling another story that completely contradicts the story that they were telling. And so and like I said, I've always been very supportive, and I've said that I think there are good people that are involved currently in the project and the research. But now, especially after the episode tonight, there are questions that need to be answered. Tell us about the radiation. Tell us about, what happened to the animals that have been mutilated. Do we really need to see them? I don't think so. Are these truly unearthly explanations, or are we just going to go ahead and spin some more yarn? Clearly, that might be the case. Are we still involved in the old narrative? Who are we going to be bringing on? Who is going to be lending an expert ear as we go forward? Are there new people that are coming in that have no ties to the old agenda? We'll see what happens. But right now, it's looking like these are all old ties to an old agenda, and that agenda should be questioned. And so, yes, I am. And this is probably, this is a pivotal interview for me, because I am breaking ranks, and I'm stepping out, and the people that I once, wanted to support and hold in high regard, I'm questioning. So answer those questions for me. Answer those questions for Chris Marks, who has been told, like I said, time and time again, through statements from the NID scientists, through George Knapp, through all of these people, that they have been exposed to non-lethal weapons, or toys, quote unquote, because they like to call them toys because that sounds so much better. You look at different studies that Kit Green has done about the health implications of people that have been exposed to quote unquote UAP. And the fact that people that are exposed to these things have a shortened lifespan. They have very severe illnesses. And you tell me, like, what people like myself, like Chris Marks, like Chris Bartell, all of these people who have been in the line of fire, you can't say this, and then you can't go back and say that, oh, I don't know anything. It's bullshit. And so and I'm sorry, but at some point in time, everybody's going to have to look in the mirror and say, is it really worth making all this money? Is it really worth steering the narrative? Do these people feel good at night when they go home and think, I've created another magical smokescreen, and people are getting hurt, and people don't have answers, and we don't care. I don't know. I personally am not one of those people. And so I want to find answers. I want to find answers for my husband. I want to find answers for people in the community. And I want to find answers for all of the people that have an interest in UFOs and the unknown, because we deserve better than this. We do.
Question coming from Lee A in our chat room. She is asking, does anybody that you know, have they ever taken home a hitchhiker with them around the ranch?
And that's a great question, because we do hear a lot about hitchhikers. I heard a lot about that. I was fed a lot of information about that, about the hitchhikers. I know that after my visits in the area, there was something. After I had an experience right there over the ranch, I was absolutely drained for days. I couldn't move for days. I had very strange things going on in my environment. But now, do I look back at that and do I think that's paranormal? No, I don't. And so are these hitchhikers, again, is that another front for this kind of experimentation that is going on? So people can have an initial experience, but then they can have residual experiences, and then they can attribute that to something that is unknown in a hitchhiker, when in actuality it is something much more down to earth, the explanation. So again, my thinking process has changed on that. But yeah, hitchhikers, that's kind of one of those kind of terms that has been coined and thrown out there time and time again.
Okay, let's move on here because we only got about 10 minutes left with you tonight. And, this is one of those situations where we're all trying to figure out what is happening. In your best guesstimation right now, with the television show, with everything that is hyped around Skinwalker Ranch since Brandon Fugel came out publicly as the owner, even though he bought the place 4 years ago, is this all about hype? Is this all about tourism and drawing up maybe some sleepovers and campovers at the ranch comparatively to actual paranormal activity?
I would hope they're not having sleepovers on the ranch because by their own admission, there are dangerous levels of radiation. So I wouldn't recommend sleeping over there. I would really hope, and I have hoped, I have had faith that the steward of the ranch was trying to do good things and would be forthright with his research and would, give information out. And then he had very little connections to Bigelow and was trying to do something above and beyond that and moving in a new direction. But I don't know why the same people are still in the narrative and continue to be in the narrative, and the same stories are continuing over and over again, because this should be something new. We should be getting new information and not, a show that is composed of men most of the time, sitting around having these aha moments that might be scripted. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I still hold out faith, but like I said, my husband, his colleagues deserve some answers. So we're going to see who has the best interests at heart and when the correct thing is going to be done.
All right. So have you made it more about a personal quest for what happened to Chris and his colleagues comparatively to what happened between what everybody else says is going on?
I have made this subject a personal quest. This has been a passion of mine for my entire life. This has been something that I've relentlessly dug into, and I have come up against a lot and had to deal with a lot, and have had moments where I've felt incredibly unsafe. And this is serious to me. This isn't a social club. But I felt long before Chris came into the narrative that there was something really, really wrong. My thoughts and shows about MUFON have demonstrated that time and time again. But now I see, thanks to Chris and other people that I've interviewed on the show, I see that there have been questions for a long, long time about the motivations of some of these people involved. And Chris has given me an extra fire. We have been working off of each other. And like I said, I've had extensive help from other people from all over the world that are helping with information. They're doing research. And of course, I'm always cognizant about who I'm dealing with, because you never know. But there are people that are looking into this and have been for a long time. And it isn't just about Chris, although I love him dearly. He's my husband. And if his health is in jeopardy, then I'm going to get to the bottom of it. But I'm going to get to the bottom of this for a multitude of reasons. And all of us who are listening, who care about the subject, who have had experiences, I'm doing this for all of us. And did
you know? Sorry for cutting you off, but did you know that that this was going on before you even met Chris and established a relationship and then a marriage?
No. No, I didn't. I mean, I had suspicions, and I thought, well, maybe this is kind of a money-making agenda to steer a narrative and do different things, but I had no idea of the gravity of the situation until I started to put this together with Chris and pull more people in to interview and research, and then look at, like I said, the solicitation sheet for the OSAP contract, and then look at the some of the players that were coming out of the woodwork to try to discredit us and things or me and trying to steer that narrative. And it was like, whoa. So this has been a fast and furious year. I always knew there were questions, especially given the people that were involved and some of the agendas and narratives they have promoted over the decades.
Okay. So I'm just trying to form it here into a question. So previous to Chris coming along, and he's a handsome guy. Let's just be honest. He's a handsome dude.
I kind of think so.
Yeah, he is.
He is pretty handsome.
Plays a good guitar, too. Plays a good guitar.
He is an incredible musician.
Yes, he is. I heard him play once on video. You recorded that on your Facebook. And anyways, did he ever experience anything supernatural outside of the Ouija board incident while he was there?
He did, and that has been an interesting thing for him. I mean, he had experiences at the old homestead. He had an experience that he talks about in great depth on not only my show, but there are some shows over in Europe. He's been talking Robert Fleischer, Tarek, different people, and I'll post links to their shows. If you're over in Europe, you can listen to them. But he talks about a moment in time where there was a storm rolling in, and it was dusk. And there was a man standing on the ridge where a lot of the activity is reported to happen. And this man looked at him and kind of followed him, and he called out to the man because at the time there were people in Roosevelt that were being fed information that there were shapeshifters on the ranch and that there were evil, reptilians, and they needed to go in and kill them, a reptilian, and just different things like that. So he was a little... they were concerned for their safety, as they should have been, because there was one person patrolling a very large ranch, but he saw this figure, and this figure bent down and then stretched out, and then the next thing he could see was a wolf that was walking down the mountain. And so he had this experience. He's been very candid about that. He also, the next day, because he's an investigator, went out there, and there are pictures on my website and on the internet of the investigation that he did with the tracks that changed from a human, or appeared to change from a human to a wolf. There were DNA samples that were taken, sent to Bigelow. But it is curious, and I want to just mention that the whole time that Chris and his colleagues were there, Bigelow never gave them good equipment. There were no cameras on the ranch, and I know the story was there were cameras that were cut by paranormal things. Well, according to Junior Hicks, they were cut by humans. So, why would that be the case? You're attempting to study something, but you're not giving your investigators good equipment. In fact, they have to bring their own on the ranch. But the most important thing, and the focus, was the reports. So to me, that would say that they're looking at these reports and they're gauging a specific response. Was the person on the ranch that was potentially exposed to something, did they react in the way we wanted them to? That was the focus, to study the responses of the people that were put in little cages instead of the bait pins to see how they were going to behave. And so when you step back and you look at all of this, you look at the big picture and you ask critical questions, it's like, whoa, this is really something.
We're down to about 90 seconds left with you tonight, and this is a show that has flown on by. And I want to say thank you for giving a much different perspective and look on Skinwalker Ranch tonight. I really do appreciate that, Erika.
I always love being here with you, and like I said, I know this is hard because we all want to be in a happy place and we all want to look for good things, and I know that there's something out there, but there are also people who want to take advantage of that, and so just do your homework and pay attention to patterns and behaviors and people and their agendas. That's really critical for all of us, and thank you.
Do me a favor, let everybody know your website, your podcast, where they can find more information about you.
So my radio show is Friday nights on KCOR. My website is UFOclassified.com. You can find me at UFO Classified on Facebook, and I occasionally tweet. I need to be better about that. So Erika Luke's UAP, I believe, is my Twitter handle, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm, don't go on Twitter, but you can find me and reach out to me, and I appreciate your feedback and dialogue. So keep digging for answers. Don't believe the narrative, because the people who are promoting disclosure are the people who are pulling it away from you, and that is important to know.
Erika, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. The audience loved you. I loved you. I still got better hair than you, barely. And
right, okay. I admit you.
That's such a lie. That's such a lie. But much love, my friend, and I always appreciate you coming on this show and making us sound that much better. Very much appreciate your time.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you.
Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. We take this thing home right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Erika Lukes, everybody. Let's give her a round of applause. Now watch the chat room. Round of applause for Erika Lukes, everybody. And Chris Marks in the chat room. Give her a little clap there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I know you're there, Erika. I see you right there.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, I'm watching.
Oh, dear. Oh.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button.
I did.
And that thumbs up.
Okay, you've got to subscribe to my channel, too, because I'm...
Of course.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Now watch all the clapping come up here. So you and I are in real time right now. This is still about 20-second delay.
Oh, wow.
So watch the clapping. It's pretty awesome. My audience is fantastic this way.
I know. I love them.
Mm-hmm. So right now they're still hearing us wrap up the show. And hold on, where are they here? There they are. Look, you're getting all the claps.
Aw, so cute. I love that. That makes me happy that, and that's the cool thing. It's like there's so many nice people.
Look at that. Yeah. Look at all the clapping for you. Look at all that.
It's always nice, because most of the days you're just getting kicked in the gut. And so
I know.
To have some accolades, that rocks.
Look at everybody clapping for you. All right. I love that. I absolutely love it when they do that. I do. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel totally good. They're awesome that way. Absolutely awesome.
Yep, that's cool.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Oh, God, I love these people. By the way, Greco owns a Greek restaurant in Toronto, and he's asking when the last time you had a good Greek meal was.
You know what? I have not had a Greek meal in a couple months, because, we've been living on lockdown and things, and I love Greek food.
Well, if you're ever in Toronto, I still don't.
I will go check it out. I love that. I love Greek food. Oh, in fact, you've inspired me. I need to make some tomorrow night.
Awesome. Look at all those clapping. Look at all that clapping for you.
That's good.
I know.
And I'm glad that they're clapping for Chris Marks.
Chris Marks, everybody. Let's give a clap for Chris Marks. There we go.
Yeah, baby.
Absolutely. There you go, everyone. There you go. Erika, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I got to go get ready for my news.
Be healthy.
Absolutely.
Okay. Brush the hair.
Yeah. Much love for you, dear. And much love for Chris, too.
All right. You guys take care. Stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Erika Lukes, everybody. Erika Lukes, everybody. Now I got to get ready for the news. Let's see here. We'll find some news here. When did this happen? Let's go. Get out of there. No. Hey, Pat Smack, thank you so much, man. Thank you for tuning us on in for the first time. We really do appreciate that. Trying to find some bizarre article here. Nope, that ain't it. Ah, goodness. Let's see what this is. Let's go by date. I'm so running out of time. Hey, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that a lot. Much love to all you guys. All right, final commercial. Thank you to everybody who participated in tonight with the super chat. Really do appreciate that. And thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs down. Thank you all the way around. Yeah. Sound like Dr. fucking Seuss there. Here we go. I didn't see that, Brutus. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you tonight from SOR headquarters. I appreciate the company. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Speaking of the news, let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the absurd. Yeah. This just coming down tonight. Spotify, if you've downloaded that app, will soon be the exclusive home of one of the biggest podcasts in the world. They announced that Spotify has signed the Joe Rogan Experience for a multi-year exclusive licensing deal. The talk show style podcast is anchored by comedian Joe Rogan, who some consider controversial for peddling conspiracy theories with guests like Alex Jones. The podcast is ranked the second most popular in the United States on Apple Podcasts, according to Podcast Insight, and Rogan topped Forbes' 2020 list of the highest earning podcasters. The deal is the latest move in Spotify's effort to expand beyond music streaming to become an audio empire. I got a paranormal show they might want to check out. In 2019, Spotify made its ambitions known by acquiring podcast companies Gimlet Media, Anchor, and Paracast. In February, Spotify bought The Ringer, Bill Simmons' sports and culture site that boasts more than 30 podcasts. With Rogan, Spotify is showing its willingness to bring more podcast listeners to its platform through exclusive content. Spotify now has dozens of podcasts exclusive to the platform, including 3 from Gimlet Media and 3 from Ringer. Spotify's chief content officer, Dawn Ostroff, says that the last year about the company's strategy for more exclusives. She says, "We're making more content exclusive on the platform, which allows us to market in a more meaningful way and bring people onto the platform. And we're finding that creators are excited about working with us on an exclusive basis because we're able to push so much more out of our marketing and our on-platform data and insight in their hands." Rogan said in his Instagram that he won't have any, that Spotify will not have any creative control over the show. So what's his deal worth? Let's just cut to it. You know, we can do the basics. $100 million. $100 million. Think about that. That's a lot of dough and a lot of Spotify subscriptions. But if they can afford it, good on Joe for signing it. Sad news. Annie Glenn, a lifelong advocate for those with speech impediments, and the wife of late astronaut John Glenn, died of complications of COVID-19. She was 100 years old. Glenn was living at a senior center in St. Paul, Minnesota when she passed away. The Ohio State University's John Glenn College of Public Affairs has announced her children notified the university of her passing. Though she perhaps is best known for her approximation to her husband, Annie Glenn was an American hero in her own right. Veteran reporter Bob Green wrote in a 2012 CNN opinion piece, "Glenn has had a hero of his own." Green wrote, "Someone who has seen the display endless courage of a different kind, and that's Annie Glenn." Annie and John Glenn were married for 68 years before John's death in 2016. The two grew up together in New Concord, Ohio, and played as children. Throughout their childhood, Annie Castor, as she was known then, had a stutter so severe that she couldn't manage to speak 85% of the time. Glenn loved her all the same. The two were married in 1943, shortly before John served in World War II as a Marine aviator, and while he was at war, she played the organ at church. At least while she played, she wouldn't have to talk. Glenn's stutter made adulthood difficult too. She'd point to items on restaurant menus and feared that she wouldn't get the word out over the phone if she needed to call the doctor. "I can remember some very painful experiences, especially the ridicule," she said in 1980. "People would tell me to hurry up or start shouting at me because they thought I was deaf and dumb." All the while, she stuck by her husband through his service in 2 wars, a Senate stint, and 2 trips into space. The two were quite close, though Annie was still reluctant to speak in public. But in 1973, after meeting with a Virginian doctor who helped her through intensive speech therapy, she got a grip on her debilitating stutter. She was 53 when she could speak with confidence. She wanted other women with stutters to feel the same way she finally felt, so she prepared a speech to give in her native of Ohio to a crowd of 300. She'd never been able to speak long sentences before, so she practiced for 3 months before she delivered it, and the crowd went wild. A new world has opened up for me, she said at the time. The most important part of what's happened is that I can now get my ideas across. I used to be just a good listener. Now I'm a chatterbox. Good for her. Great life. Hitting that centenarian mark. A California woman has been branded a COVIDiot after accusing supermarket staff of discriminating against her for not letting her in the shop without a mask. Dana Point resident Shelley Lewis became embroiled in a dispute while supermarket staff after she refused to wear a mask covering on the grounds of a medical condition. When the manager of the Gelson's Market branch in Orange County offered to buy her groceries for her, she refused, saying her shopping was private. So Lewis filmed herself as she spoke to a Gelson's shop assistant who tells her in the video that she can't enter the store without a mask, but the supermarket would happily provide one for her. She demanded to speak with the manager. Oh, Shelley is apparently a Karen now. Anyway, she demanded to speak with the manager, whose name was Ben, who gives her the same answer. She goes, I have a medical condition and that I am not allowed to wear a mask. She tells him, adding that she wasn't required to tell him what the condition is. Can we shop for you? Ben asks her, in which she replies, I have private things that I want to get that maybe I don't want you to see. She goes on to accuse the manager of discriminating against her after he refuses to let her in the store without the mask and demands to see the store's regulations. He advises her to call the supermarket's corporate head office, at which point she threatens him with a lawsuit. Well, you guys are going to get a lawsuit because you can't discriminate, she said. The manager replies, I'm trying to help you, but I'm not going to argue with you. How's that helping me? She claps back. She then proceeds to address the camera as the store manager walks away to get her a company card saying, this is Shelley Lewis, a.k.a. Karen. I'm at Dana Point Gelson's, so if anybody wants to shop here, you have to have a mask, and here is the policies, which state that they will shop for me and take my money, my private credit card, and utilize that. I'm just not going to let them do that. No, I'm not going to let them do that, Karen says. She then addresses the original shop assistant who is wiping down shopping trolleys outside the store while dancing to music, stating that he appears chipper. He responds that says he's happy to have a job. I'm a bartender and I wouldn't have a job were it not for Gelson's, he says. Lewis adds, I'm glad you guys think it's okay to infringe on people's rights here. The video ends after the store manager, Ben, hands her a business card for her to call the corporate office. Lewis's social media profile states that she's also a flat earther and a vegan chef. Well, that answers everything. She is listed on the Flat Earth International Conference 2019 website as a speaker. Oh, Corinth, we got to get her on the show. We got to get her on the show. All right? Yeah. Shelley, you got to get on Spaced Out Radio. Yeah. So apparently, I'm not the only one who thinks that she's a Karen. Yeah, a Twitter user and DNC member Carrie Pennebaker shared the video with the caption, Karen gets upset that a store won't let her shop without a protective face mask. Oh, yes, there we go. She then tried to pretend like she's the victim despite the store giving her options. This is pure arrogance, he said. All right, here, let's move on. Now, this story should upset a bunch of you out there. I know it does for me. I don't like this. Okay, an Australian man who acted on his own free will to free a whale that was caught in sea nets says he has now been fined by authorities for performing the rescue. The trapped whale was spotted in waters off the Gold Coast, prompting calls to officials. However, as hours passed by without a response, the man launched his own rescue, driving his boat out, swimming over to the whale, and untangled it. Yeah, upon his return to shore, he was fined by officials. It's unclear what exactly the fines were for, but Queensland State has penalties for tampering with city council or council property, as well as moving too close to whales. Are you kidding me? Who is the moron who wrote this ticket? Seriously. Anyways, the man, who only wanted to be known as Django, said when he saw the whale, adrenaline just sort of kicked in. Basically, I tried to untangle him. He had a knife, but managed to unwrap the whale's fin from the nets. Other Australian news outlets reported a crowd of spectators watched the rescue from shore. Observer Andre Borrell told the media that they had initially waited for hours for authorities to turn up. Luckily, a good Samaritan came up and did fisheries jobs for them. The use of shark nets around Australian beaches is controversial due to their impact on other wildlife. Last year, there were at least 5 whales caught in the state's nets, prompting calls for other shark deterrents to be used instead. Oh, that one's got to go to court. That one definitely has to go to court. Authorities are searching for a suspect after the discovery of a decapitated wild turkey and destruction of several duck eggs near a New Mexico bird sanctuary. Yeah, reports say a reward is being offered for any information about the turkey's decapitation and destruction of the eggs around the J. Kenneth Smith Bird Sanctuary and Nature Center in Roswell. Oh, you know, if it happened in Roswell, it was aliens. Had to be aliens. Roswell Parks and Recreation Director Jim Burris said the carcass of the wild turkey was found last week on a walking trail at the sanctuary with its head cut off. He says employees also found the duck eggs by a nearby pond broken. Burris says the culprit could have been the work of an animal such as a raccoon, skunk, or fox, but officials suspect a human because of recent vandalism. Burris says Parks and Recreation personnel and police are increasing their presence in the area. Residents and frequent sanctuary visitor Nita Sturgis says she's offering a $500 reward out of anger. No arrests have been made. You can't arrest aliens. It doesn't work, Roswell. Okay, I get the whole social distancing thing, okay? I do. But this is a little ridiculous for me. Because of social distancing guidelines and stay-at-home orders across the country, this has thrown a wrench in many people's plans, including high school seniors who are looking forward to the graduation ceremonies. Most schools have been forced to hold their ceremonies online, but one New Hampshire high school is being praised because it's found a solution. So what are they doing? They're having their graduates ride ski lifts to receive their diplomas. Kevin Carpenter, principal of Kennett High School, says the idea for a ski lift graduation came from an employee at the superintendent's office. Carpenter said he loved the idea, and the high school contacted nearby Cranmore Mountain Resort, which agreed to host the unique commencement free of charge. Oh, that's good. In June, roughly 2 months after the typical ski season in New Hampshire ends, the ski lift at Cranmore is said to be packed with 174 graduating seniors. The response so far has been positive. Most families want an in-person experience and not just a virtual ceremony or a drive-up ceremony. This is definitely not that, but it's still not the full traditional graduation, and we will need to maintain social distancing practices. But given what's going on in the world, aren't you sick and tired of hearing that? But given what's going on in the world, this is a great way to celebrate the achievements of these young children, he continued. In wake of the pandemic, the high school staff was considering multiple alternatives for 2020 graduation options, but once the ski lift idea was on the table, they were all in. As principal, this makes me proud, he says. Our community is such a caring and giving one, and to see so many parts coming together to help make this happen for the kids is very heartwarming. I get that. I do. I get that. Let's send them some bananas too. Maybe some apples and pears. I don't know why I threw that in, but why not? One more for you. This is kind of cool. A 90-year-old Japanese woman known as the Gaming Grandma has been awarded a Guinness World Record as the oldest gaming YouTuber. Hamako Mori said her interest in video games was piqued about 39 years ago when she watched some children playing popular games at the time. It looked like so much fun. I thought it was not fair only children played it, Maury said. I thought life would be more fun if I knew how to play them as well. So I started playing, at first while no one was watching. Maury brought her first gaming console, a cassette vision, and now, decades later, she has her PlayStation 4 and shares videos for her more than 150,000 YouTube subscribers. She said it took her some time to get into modern games. I didn't touch it until recently because it's difficult to play, but recent action games are visually spectacular, and they often use actors for characters, so I'm really obsessed with it now. Maury says her current favorite game is Grand Theft Auto 5. Oh, Granny, listen to you go. And it's like watching a film. I like it best because it has age restrictions, so children can't play it. The dedicated gamer credited her hobby with keeping her feeling young. After living for this long, I feel like more than ever that playing video games for this long was the right choice. I truly enjoy my life. It's Rosie. That is phenomenal. Good for her. Where's that clown, Marty? Where is it? Oh, that's a scary one. Scary one. I want to deck that clown. Oh, I can't handle clowns. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. So let's have some fun with this one today, shall we? If you could investigate Skinwalker Ranch, what mystery would you look into first? Marty, I would look into the Native American curse put on the land by the Navajo Nation and see if a Navajo elder or medicine man today would be willing to remove the curse, then see if all the paranormal activity ceases. Derek, why animals are allowed to be used and abused in their so-called scientific tests on location. Joe, I would investigate why a curse on people and land adjacent to the ranch and no reports from original ranch owners have evolved as believed to be the four-legged now, even naming the ranch after it. Yes, Joe doesn't like that word, so we're not going to say it either. Judith, what are the actual consequences for digging on the ranch? First, without asking and giving a blessing, and then, depending on what happens, try again after asking permission. Ronnie, those vortex holes that cryptids crawl out of. William, oh, this is a tough one, Dave. I would look further into its past. What kind of native issues might it be? Also, the beasts. I would need to know. All right, let's see what else we got here. Well, let's scroll up a little bit here. Heidi, I need Bill Gerhard's help from Oak Island to do some digging and find out exactly why it's not a good idea to dig at the ranch. Jack wants to know about the poltergeist activity. Greg, why the cameras mysteriously go offline all the time. Tim, why it's taken millions of dollars to study and still have zero results. Olav, I'd focus on the energy and radiation source. Tina, I'd start digging, totally mess stuff up. I would start at homestead number 2 and go for it. I would dig down at least 20 feet. Damien, did you know there's Bigfoot there, bro? Yeah. Sean, I'd start off investigating the claims of skinwalkers and the area. William, I would want to focus on the openings in what seems to be another dimension or rip in the fabric of time. This, above else, is most intriguing to me. Jared, I would love to go find the portal that supposedly lets the creatures come and go. Jody, the giant wolf that has been seen by many that is impermeable to bullets and can disappear and shapeshift. That and the portal to the other dimensions that has also been witnessed by many. Oh, and the big giant predator being who was invisible and the size of a large cryptid who could only be seen in a shimmer energy form. So those are my top 3. Jason, dig, and dig some more. Then after that, keep digging. I would set cameras up everywhere and allow access to those who want to pay. All kinds of strange events will happen when you dig. You dig? Dave, I would look into the narcissistic investigators, expose them, and fire them. Replace them with some real researchers that don't need or like the limelight. Wilhelm, I would investigate why people so often think that television shows are a good source of scientifically unbiased information. Real boots on the ground research is not sexy, nor is it sensational. Unfortunately, TV shows portray research quite differently. Ben, I would investigate more ways to milk money out of thin air. Tim, focus on the openings in the time rift portals. Somehow, if it can be down, use the same scientists that found the parallel universe last week, maybe? And finally, let's pick one here because there's a lot of them. Let's go with Science Bob. The radio emissions may contain something interesting. I don't feel this has gotten the attention it deserves. Thank you for everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again tomorrow. Thank you to Captain Shirk for a great run in the SOR Newswire, which could be found on our website, and Erika Lukes for coming on talking about Skinwalker Ranch. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I hope your bingo cards got filled tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. We'll see you all tomorrow night when we depart on the Woo train. Remember, your tickets are always available. Your seats are always ready for you. Come join us. We'll be here for you. See you tomorrow night. Good night. It's a good show, people. Good show, everyone. Audience, you were fantastic. You were fantastic tonight. Good job, audience. Good for you. That's good stuff, audience. Good stuff. You ought to be proud of yourselves tonight. You did well. You did well. Woo! Let's get this prick edited. That's good stuff, everyone. Hey, Rono. And let's see here. Where are we going? We're going to go like that. Going to go like that. That was a good show, everyone. Good show. Also, good clapping for Erika Lukes tonight. Good clapping. That made her feel really good, everyone. So congratulate yourself on that. Eva, why were you wandering? Why were you wandering, Eva? We want to know. You're in the Commonwealth, Renee. It's tea now. Should know that by now. Bank after me, among other people. Okay, not funny. The bank is after you? Did you rob a bank, Eva? Be honest. Did you rob a bank? I'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. I know there's 78 people here. We're just downloading everything. All right. That'll be a couple minutes. I'll be right back. All right. So that damn moth, it actually body checked me coming back in. It body checked me and literally flew into my house. Yeah. That bastard. That bastard. I know. That moth. Bastard. Now I got to edit out that piece where Erika Luke said bullshit. I hate moths. I do. I hate moths with a passion. Hate him. Hate him. Tomorrow night on the show, we got Merle here. We haven't been able to find a guest yet to join us. We'll find one for tomorrow. We'll figure it out. I did not have breakfast for dinner, Renee. You got to cut that stuff out. You people are weird. Tonight I had sauteed potatoes, asparagus, and chicken. And it was good. Real good. Yeah, Pat Smack, we're here at every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. We'd love for you to join us. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I really appreciate you tuning us in for the first time, man. Thank you for that. And we got a really good group of people here, man. And as you probably got a little bit of a taste tonight, that they are really, really fantastic people in our chat rooms. And I'm very proud of the people that we have in there. I think number 5 is where she swore. So I'll just leave that one out for now. And go from there. It goes about 13 minutes in. See if I can do this. See if this screws everything up. Okay. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try a little bit of an experiment. Okay. I'm going to change one of my programs here. And if you could tell me whether or not you could hear me in the chat room here momentarily, I would appreciate it. Okay. So thank you. We'll do that right now.
A hitchhiker, when in actuality it is something much more.
I don't know if you can hear me or
down
not.
To earth.
Can you all hear me?
So, again, my thinking process
came.
I would really hope, and I have, beyond that, it'd be something new. We should be getting new information.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me know.
It's a show that is composed of men most of the time, sitting around having these aha moments that might be scripted. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I still hold out faith, but like I said, my husband, his colleagues deserve some answers. So we're going to see who has the best interests at heart and when the correct thing is going to be done.
All right. So have you made it more about a personal, what everybody else says is going on? Okay. So you guys can hear the audio.
I have made this subject a personal quest. This has been a passion of mine for my entire life.
I wasn't sure if you could or not.
That I've relentlessly dug into, and I have come up against a lot and had to deal with a lot, and have had moments where I've felt incredibly unsafe. And this is serious to me. This isn't a social club. But
so 13,
contradicts the story that they were telling. And so
trying to hear where she says bullshit.
And like I said, I've always been very supportive. And I've said that I think there are good people that are involved currently in the project and the research. But now, especially after the episode tonight, I mean, there are questions that need to be answered. Tell us about the radiation. Tell us about, what happened to the animals that have been mutilated. Do we really need to see them? I don't think so. Are these truly unearthly explanations, or are we just going to go ahead and spin some more yarn? clearly that might be the case. Are we still involved in the old narrative? Who are we going to be bringing on? Who is going to be lending an expert ear as we go forward? Are there new people that are coming in that have no ties to the old agenda? We'll see what happens. But right now it's looking like these are all old ties to an old agenda, and that agenda should be questioned. And so, yes, I am, and this is probably, this is a pivotal interview for me because I am breaking ranks, and I'm stepping out, and the people that I once, wanted to support and hold in high regard, I'm questioning. So answer those questions for me. Answer those questions for Chris Marks, who has been told, like I said, time and time again, through statements from the NID scientists, through George Knapp, through all of these people, that they have been exposed to non-lethal weapons or toys, quote unquote, because they like to call them toys because that sounds so much better. You look at different studies that Kit Green has done about the health implications of people that have been exposed to quote unquote UAP. And the fact that people that are exposed to these things have a shortened lifespan. They have very severe illnesses. And I mean, you tell me, like, what people like myself, like Chris Marks, like Chris Bartell, all of these people who have been in the line of fire, you can't say this and then you can't go back and say that, oh, I don't know anything. It's bullshit.
There it is.
And so it's this, and then you can't go back and say that, oh, I don't know anything. It's bullshit. And so it's bullshit. Bullshit. It's bull. And so
there we go.
And I'm sorry, but at some point in time,
there we go. Now we can save this. Oh, 519 SOR 5. I'm glad you guys could still hear that. I'm glad you guys could still hear that. Or hear me at least. That makes me feel quite better, to be honest. Because now I don't have to cut out to edit a show in case someone does say something bad. All right. Right. We got that all edited. Let's get these things off, shall we? 1, 3, 3, 4. Okay. 5. 1, 6, 5, 2, 6. Make sure they're all in there. Good. Make sure they're all in this one. Good. Sorry, everyone. Okay, what am I doing here? I gotta focus here again. All right. No, that ain't it. Upload folder. There we go. All right, let's get this thing going. All right, time to choose your numbers for tonight. Your 6 numbers. Yes, Renee, I'm on GoofOn. I listen to GoofOn every single night before the show. Every single night before the show, I am in with Little Richie G. Okay, why is this doing this? Okay. Desktop. There we go. Copy that. Let's get out of here. Transfer that. Okay, we're going to get our code here. Our verification code. What's your 6 numbers, everyone? Oh, that's good, Renee. That's a good one. Here we go. The lucky number tonight is 282693. 282693. We're going to verify this, and we are downloading. Good night, Lee A. Thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate that. Hey, Mark. How you doing, man? I didn't see you sneak in there. Otherwise, I would have said hello earlier. Sorry about that. We are transferring the files. Do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. I'm switching over to the big screen here so I can actually see what you guys are talking about. My beard disappeared accidentally. My beard disappeared. Let's see how we look with the hair. Oh. Oh. There we go. What do we got in the chat room still? There is a magical word list of words you cannot say on the air. Shit, fuck, the C word, asshole, any derogatives of them all. There's a few more. Get a pirate hat now, Dave. I don't have one. I should get one, though. What the hell? I just can't wait to get new glasses. You can say anus. Hey, Larry. How you doing, man? Thanks for popping on in. Appreciate that. What do you use the code for? The code that I use is for transferring the radio files from the show we just did over to one of our radio stations that broadcasts us. And each night the code is different. Yeah, unfortunately, Mark, the CRTC and the FCC, they haven't matured yet. I don't think bullshit is a bad word that should be crucified still. Larry has no sound. Do you guys have sound? Can you all hear me? Yes, no? Okay, cool. Cool. I look nothing like Dimebag Daryl. Nothing like him, Renee. Oh, maybe with this. Maybe with that. Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with that now. Good night, Grendel. Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna figure out something for tomorrow yet. Pantera is not a swear word. It is a great band. I gotta check out this Shelley Lewis, aka Karen. Shelley Lewis. Where is this Karen? Oh, there you go. Now you can hear us. Did you read it? Read what, Ron? Read what? Why has this slowed? Oh, you gotta be shitting me right now. Fuck a duck. I gotta restart this prick and a half here. Upload folder. Spaced Out Radio. Upload folder. I hate this Dropbox. It's horrible. Why is this moving so bloody slow? God damn it. Like Us 101, Flash Fridays. Absolutely. I remember this girl I worked with at the radio station in Vancouver. She was just so excited to go see Tom Likas at one of the bars because she wanted to flash her breasts in front of him and get her picture taken with him while she's flashing her breasts. We all got to see it on his website. It was fantastic. Okay, enough sea talk, guys. Clean it up. Clean it up. Clean it up. My one is already done. The other one, still saying 4 hours. Brutal. Renee, you should be playing Wolf Game by now. See, Fap, you could have came up here where it's only 19 years old. Oh, it's back up to 5 hours now. I don't know. I'm going to restart Dropbox here. This is just terrible. I'm going to restart this again. I'm going to try something here. Email to KZX make. I think that's his email. KZXPD. See if that works. This is freaking ridiculous. Sorry, I'm just sending an email to one of the program directors. Give me 2 seconds here. Ah, damn it. All right. Hey, Len, how you doing? I know. I'm going to probably trim this off. I don't think I'm happy with it. I'm going to start growing my other beard back. Do the full beard thing again. That one's already like 59%. Hopefully they're able to get it. I hate A&W. I'm so sick of A&W. Their burgers are good, though. I will say that. Their burgers are very good. Just sick of it. Well, Renee, getting Taco Bell up here is a treat. Thanks, Fapster. Appreciate that. Well, everybody, I am done downloading for the night. So I will check you all out tomorrow night. Merle will be back. I don't know what we're talking about yet. We'll figure it out, but I'm going